Okay, the city will reconvene back in open session. Regarding the executive session closed item regarding Beach Access Road B, there will be no action taken. But for those of you that are interested, the city is continuing to work on Beach Access Road B. And we hope to have some solutions and options regarding this matter very soon. Right, we're going to move forward to item G, discuss and take action to confirm BFDP 22002608 is consistent with the Port Aransas Coastal Management Plan. Applicant seeks to construct 2 dream crossovers, property location 3900 Highway 361, Palmia Beach Village South.
Madam Mayor, Council, as the request implies, Palmia is looking to build 2 14-foot walkovers to serve the new phase of the Palmia Beach subdivision. This was, again, I've been up here plenty of times with walkovers. Like I said, it was approved by planning and zoning, and the comments from GLO are their fairly standard comments related to compensation and the monitoring of the replacement. There's about 900 cubic yards of impact, a little over 1,000 yards of compensation. I'll leave it at that with any questions.
Any questions from anybody?
How wide did you say they were, Rick?
They are 14 feet,
2 of them?
2 14-feeters.
Is that for the whole,
That's
that side?
for that
Yeah.
whole
Yeah, for the whole
side.
south side, which it goes kind of under Pioneer, correct?
Correct.
And then back to the north. It's for that section, like right there. I believe it's like one here, one there.
Is that right, Stephen? Oh, okay, I didn't know who's the actual, okay. Any comments?
That's not having questions.
Okay. Have any questions?
What are most of the boardwalks? How big are they?
They vary.
vary.
This is one of the wider that we've seen, and the discussion has ranged from it provides a safer navigation, but for 2 golf carts. It's a large area served, so a lot of homeowners, and again, I'm going through the justifications for the wider one, but it does create a safer. But we see them down as small as 6 feet. Wider has been the trend. Some of the pro arguments that have emerged lately for the wider ones is that it has the potential, and I don't know, I can't tell you that they're scientific, but empirically and just observationally, it keeps motor vehicles off the highway in these subdivisions that are served by the boardwalks. And there's a pretty good thought that that's a positive, is that if you can facilitate more golf cart, which is the reality, and that traffic to the beach via these walks, then it's going to be less cars on the roadway. GLO, I can tell you, GLO has received comments. They are looking at proposing some new rules that may try to change that. We think it's not a one size fits all, because again, if you're serving a lot of homes, there's some arguments to be made. But like I said, they're proposing some of their own rules that may or may not have an impact on the future.
And we are discussing that a later agenda item.
Approximately how far apart are each one of the 2?
Stephen, you have you have an idea of
I know, but I mean like actual
wanna know
physical,
feet.
separation between the 2? Actually, I can tell you much less than what we historically see separation between boardwalks.
That's why I was asking, is approximately how many?
I don't have an exact
Scale.
footage, but I'd like to see
In a golf cart?
this
4 feet
exhibit.
wide.
Let's see, so it's
Right.
1,400.
8. How come they're going to 14? I mean, a
And
golf cart's
just
4 feet wide.
just because of the two-way
No, I get
traffic
that,
and adding in
Yeah.
pedestrian.
Oh, so it's,
but that's
the
still
first one is
Mhm.
almost in
6
line
extra
with the
feet for
front of the
pedestrian.
part
Well,
there.
two-way car traffic.
No, I
And
know,
the
4
second
feet
one
wide.
goes to right.
Yeah.
They're 1,600 feet
A
apart,
little over 1,000.
1,600.
Feet.
I would like to address
Sure.
your question. It's 14 feet wide is a very safe passing distance for the two golf carts. You're right, they are 4 feet wide, but you're not gonna pass somebody
No.
4 feet wide, right
Mhm.
next to somebody 4 feet
Right.
wide, and you're gonna want space from the hand railing as well. About 2 foot clearing distance. When you're driving on a golf cart, you'll be about 2 feet away naturally. You won't want to be closer than 1 feet in fear of hitting either your foot out of the side or, an arm out of
Sure.
the side, any beach going gear. 14 feet is a safe passing distance for two-way traffic and any pedestrians.
Nobody ever rides with their foot inside the golf cart, which I still.
Or their arms.
All right. Any other discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, any further discussion with the motion and second? Graham, please call the roll.
Councilmember Park,
Yes.
Member Camoin,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
No,
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Philo,
Yes.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes. All right, H, discuss and take action on PPLT FPLT 23-000049 preliminary and final plat for a particular harbor PUD Unit 1, property location 5200 block of Highway 361, a particular harbor PUD.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. So we also have the project engineer here for any technical questions, but this is the resulting, or this is the income of plating action that follows the PUD, the plan unit development approval that was received several months ago for the a particular harbor. And it's about 14 acres, planned unit development. The documents, again, actually are just a reiteration of what you saw in the planned unit development, but then a little bit more specifically as it breaks down lot wise. Pulling our utilities, the gas department did request an easement, which obviously the applicant developer was willing to give for gas. There was a couple of items that the reviewing engineer asked about, one as simple as a label, just labeling a Highway 361, and the other was a modification, just a confirmation that the roundabout that's listed was in conformance. Both of those were agreed to, and the final reviewing engineer's letter was a complete reconciliation and a acknowledgement that it was consistent with our plating ordinance, and therefore, as the planning and zoning approved, we recommend approval.
A motion to approve?
a second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Graham, please call the roll.
Christensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Philo,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes,
Mayor Pro Tem Owen,
Yes.
Councilmember Park,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, item I, discuss and take action on FPLT 23-000050, plat of Cinnamon Shore South, Unit 6, part of Cinnamon Shore 2 PUD, applicant Mustang Island Development 2 Inc., property location 5800 block of Highway 361.
Thank you. I'm sure you all vividly remember this plat coming before you once before being approved. However, as they began construction properly permitted of a walkover, they realized that 3 lots on that southeast facing boundary line of the property were not in alignment with the walkover that was under construction. So this simply is a plat coming back with the adjustment of those 3 lots, basically pushing down lots 1 and 2, no change in anything other than that, just to align with the walkover that was under construction. So that's the sole nature of this particular plat. 1 and 2 being pushed down. Is that right, Steve? Push to the north. Okay, it's down to me in the map.
It's up.
Or moved.
A motion to approve?
Okay,
I'll second.
all right, there's a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Brandon, please call the roll.
Chairperson Owen,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Seeloff,
Yes.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Right, item J is approving Flex 22002610 flexible development request for Las Brisas subdivision, a FUD. Applicant is Crucia Property Holdings LP, property location 2530 South 11th Street.
Thank you, Mayor. As my background information on this agenda item states is that when we changed the development regulations a couple years ago, it eliminated two of the development flexibilities, CUDs, and modified the NUDs to where really the only pathway forward left for a private road was through the flexible development. In fact, I think it was even at some point stated that somebody wanted that. Other than the request for a private road, which is still 24 foot, well, I mean, 30-foot right away with 24-foot pavement, a pretty substantial road. Other than that one request, this is in conformance with all of the development regulations. Lot sizes are 5,000 or larger. The frontage widths are 50 feet. No change in height. It was simply the only path forward for somebody that wanted to request a private road, and really, quite frankly, for us to do that and not have a road that we were responsible for. So that is the ask here. There were some with the flexible development, we treat it like a variance request, and we send out notice to the surrounding properties. Nicole, 3 are in the package. Were those the only ones received? Yeah, two opposed because of height. It specifically stated they didn't like the idea of anything being built behind them. The other one was a little bit more in depth, but they're in your package. So like I said, so that the ask is simply for the private road.
If we didn't have a if there wasn't a private road, right, it's obviously probably couldn't be a city road. It'd eat up 60% of the lot, wouldn't it? If we said that,
They
if we
proposed
said
a
that-
30-foot right of way, so that only it'd be 20 feet more.
But then they'd have to have a cul-de-sac or, yeah,
It would probably eat up some.
so they would lose it. Now, if they didn't want the FUD gives them fee simple lots, correct?
Right. Then they could turn around.
Right, so if you were, I'm just kind of thinking this through, if you denied it, they would basically have to go to a kind of a condo. Right, they could go condo regime.
TR?
Yeah.
It's TR1, so yeah, it's hotel motels.
Yeah, they could go condo.
Yeah, so they could go condo, they could go more than 4 on a lot.
It's TR or R2? Thought it was R2.
I thought that was
I don't
TR.
think that's where it is. You're thinking that that's what Oyster Bay condo is our next Christie. This is the last region of the apartment.
It's
to the
left. There.
So the R2 is just in between
Mhm.
Royal Palm
Yeah.
and Sea Isle. It's that right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay, right, so this is TR, right.
To this one is here.
Okay, yeah, okay, all right. So if we didn't grant the FUD, they could still build the same thing, but they would build it in the condominium form, not the fee simple form,
Yeah, they're
correct?
not constrained to the 4 lots, and they've got a pretty big piece of property, but it wasn't big enough for a nut.
Right,
So it being a flexible unit, what is the benefit to the public and the community? What is their, I don't really see the
Well-
benefit right now.
Just remember that besides that, it was the only path left forward to request a private road.
Okay,
That was specifically called out.
Right. we don't
Correct.
build a road.
So now I'm not here to advocate one way or the other if that's a public benefit. But this was the only mechanism, the flexible development was the only mechanism when the other 2 were changed to get a private road.
And fee simple lots
and be what?
and have fee simple lots.
Okay.
Stephen, you were up?
Right.
So I don't know if you want to.
Even so I can elaborate.
Okay,
Yeah.
Come on. all right.
yeah, so the biggest thing with the FUD is, and we don't define it, but we just say To encourage and to facilitate creative construction projects that serve a public or community purpose. And that's kind of up to you guys to, now they say eligible projects might include, but are not limited to, development that dedicates property land for parks, off-street, off-beach parking, utility drainage easements, and so on. Housing development that is restricted to long-term occupancy, or unique residential construction or modification designed for workforce housing. So it's not definitely one of those three, but the way it reads is that that's not an all-inclusive list. So you guys have to make the determination of, does a private street benefit? Because that's all they're really offering in this one, like Rick said. Is the private street a benefit enough?
That we don't have to maintain.
Paving width, which is more appropriate.
Now,
You know,
well,
It's your call.
and I would certainly entertain at some later point of direction to maybe look at a different way to do this.
Yeah, because that's
This is the
like,
first time that we come
Okay.
with this being our only mechanism for a private street.
Right. What do you have to say?
Welcome.
I'm Stephen Grunwald with Urban Engineering. Private street just would eliminate the city from having to maintain it. Going with a non-standard street, we're reducing the pavement width, which reduces the impervious cover, which reduces the drainage going into your drainage system. And I think just in general, overall, right now there's 2 10-unit apartment complex buildings there. And I think the plan was to put at least 2 more. And we're proposing to not do that and just put 11 single-family units there, which I think would
Okay.
decrease
That's a good-
density
okay.
and kind of be a benefit
helps.
to at least that area, if not the overall city.
I think one of the letters from one of the people surrounding neighbors was concerned about the drainage.
We'll work drainage out. I mean, can't say what exactly is going to be done now, but we got to make
Yeah.
the drainage work.
Okay.
If we put
Thank
in,
you.
And that's a good point. Drainage, fire safety, all of those things become non-starters if they can't meet them.
Mhm.
So this only allows them to press forward to do engineering needed. If they can't meet those things, then the approval is moot.
Oh, what
that
about the fire access? It's got a hammerhead in there, or what is that?
Well, it's
For the
not,
fire.
it's not,
Here he comes.
We are proposing to put a hammerhead, which is allowed for a private street, and it will meet the fire turnaround requirements.
Okay,
and that's in the drawing.
thank you. Thanks, Stephen. Clarifying, correct me. Okay, any further discussion? All right. Do I have a motion?
I'll motion to approve.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, there's a motion, and a second. Any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Seeloff,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Mayor Samuen,
Yes.
Councilmember Hart,
No.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, item K, resolution approving Flex 23-000052 flexible development request. Applicant Brandon Lafayette, property location 318 6th Street.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, back to our flexible development. So this one is requesting several variances as the background information states, and I think the applicant is here. So certainly he can perhaps answer some questions you may have. But what they are, so let's talk about the give first, and then we'll talk about the ask. As David mentioned, one of the ones is long-term housing. So the big give is that this would be restricted. And again, I say the apartment dwellings would be restricted to long-term only in perpetuity. That's really the big give. The ask is that there's a unique situation with parking that would not necessarily, and I'll explain why I say it that way, not necessarily conform to our existing off-street parking requirements. The proposal has some retail and residential, the retail below some apartments. the hard part for us to quantify as staff is that how many of those people will occupy how many people will be the retail owners and then also live there, which means the parking would be one and the same. So what's been calculated is the worst case is that there's separate retail, separate dwelling. And so you have what I'd call the worst case parking scenario. We've learned a few things from Palladium. Palladium is that that for long-term apartments for, these 1 and 2 bedrooms, people usually don't bring 2 cars. Although we have to calculate it based on some of those guidelines. So there's a lot of things there. Landscaping and landscaping is another one that might be a little bit tough. Of course, keep in mind it's zoned industrial right now, so this is a change in that respect.
The road.
I'm sorry, and the non-standard streets. Thank you. Those really are kind of the 3 asks. In this case, there is what I'll qualify as in our opinion, an informal opinion from the fire marshal, but an opinion nonetheless that he can provide adequate fire access, provided that it's deemed no parking, red striped, in other words. I think there's 40. I think there's 40 apartments.
20.
20 apartments. 20 apartments and 20 long-term apartments, 1 and 2 bedrooms, and retail units.
There's six medium-sized storage and office with the office, 2 large storages with office.
So technically, this is not retail in that, like you're gonna have a storefront. It's more for a contractor that might store the equipment in there and have.
That might be a
I mean, so
an ideal use. It's commercial, so it could be either or.
Okay.
Yeah, my fear with that is that if you start having a bunch of shops in there,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Storefronts would be a little bit difficult. So contractor would probably be a
Right.
That's
the
gonna,
ideal use.
that's gonna blow up the entire park. I think you really, if you did it kind of where it's like home occupation stuff, where you're like saying no retail, but once you start having stores in there and you're bringing
Right.
people in,
Let's ask a
that
question.
parking's gonna explode.
Is your vision to have retail or just office
No,
space?
and he's right, and that's why it's not
Okay.
the vision. The vision is more for a contractor, a licensed real estate agent. And I've spoken with all of y'all. There's a complex right over here that has off cutoff that has 4 units very similar to what I'm proposing. They have a sign shop, a embroidery shop, a contractor,
Oh.
and
Yeah.
there's very rarely and I drive by there multiple times a day. I see max 4 cars there. And that's the kind of client those are the kind of folks I'm trying to reach out to, not a restaurant, not a retail. It just won't work. And I recognize that.
Right. And you're gonna be in full charge of that.
well, I think you guys got to somehow codify that.
I think, yeah.
I mean, if you limit him to, for example, if you say, hey, you can do in there what you do in home occupation limits, it's kind of, it's professional services where you're making an appointment and someone's going one-on-one, like it's a masseuse and one person's coming, not 6. The other question I had was, like the big shop. I mean, do you envision like woodworking going on and?
Potentially, one of them is going to be my office location. So we're going to store things. We're going to have, we have clients that we've got to provide a place to house tile and appliances. I can store that in a place of that size. I don't need to have a bunch of people there. Just
Right.
That would be, the other place could be a great place for a lawn person that has a trailer or 2 that needs to park them, come in, grab the stuff and go.
And Rick, if we looked at fire, like, what are these going to be rated at as far as fire goes? Can you have people living above a wood shop?
Yeah.
If you mix some commercial use with residential, then it's likely to be sprinkler required.
And
all those will be.
I have employed Emily Rosapal, who's a licensed architect. I'm getting all my information from her. She's very good at what she does. She's very black and white. I've had fun actually working with her. And so she knows exactly what I have to do to make this viable. We don't have many multi-use buildings here. So it's kind of one of those where I've relied on her heavily in terms of what every requirement needed, whether it's parking. She came up with a quantity for parking, fire, which we haven't gotten to, fire suppression, but I know that's required. And I've already talked with Nathan Kelly about that. He assumed that's going to go in. I said, yes, sir. So that is the plan.
In the parking lot, Rick, that P and Z looked at their equation, like for the two large storage areas with office spaces, was the parking equation for storage, because I know that's a really low parking requirement versus if it's a wood shop that houses, 6 employees.
Right, the
There's a big
breakdown-
difference between
I think
a
the break-
storage unit
Right.
and 6 workers showing up.
I think we have the breakdown in
And again,
in there.
this parking was calculated by Emily, so I'm not sure which system she used, but she's the professional and I'll let her do
Yeah,
it.
so in with all the calculations of the storage business and the multifamily, we figured that the need was 62 and the available was 56. Although I think there's a chance that 56 could still grow as they engineer this thing, but that's, I guess, what I'll kind of throw.
So
out
she
there.
is using storage, which is our lowest.
1 per 1,000 feet
Right, so it's one of our lowest
category.
categories. So once that's very different than. That's assuming, storage doesn't assume anyone's working there. It's someone showing up twice a week to their storage locker.
She has business storage, multifamily.
But that's what's shown in the plan, so that's what we would.
Some of it was calculated as office with the remainder.
Right, well, the office was just a little
Right.
13 by 13.
Will the businesses and the storage be one tenant? Or they could be separate?
No, the goal would be one tenant has the office and
And the
warehouse
business.
storage space.
Okay, so. All right.
So the fire marshal says, I think you will be fine from what I am seeing, but just check the specifications to be sure. I guess on the, needed 120 feet end to end.
Yes, ma'am,
For
correct.
the,
And it's something that he can't say you're good because I haven't presented him something to approve, right? But that's why we sent it to him prior to say,
yeah,
is this acceptable before we move forward?
That's
And
why
that was the response that we got.
that's why I count that as an.
that's why I was asking you about that house because
So on parking spots, which you're looking for a variance, you're 6 short. If you had 6, you wouldn't even be asking for a variance for parking.
That is correct. And by code, that is what I can fit on my property. But I've spoken to all of y'all. There is, we have the right of way in front of the property that I can fit 6 or more 8 cars. I just can't count them. And I can designate that as parking if necessary. I just can't count toward this project.
As far as the parking goes, Brandon, is there a way? I mean, obviously, we see this in other cities. Port Orange doesn't have a lot of defined parking times. But in order to keep some of that overflow parking off the street, which is what I would prefer, would be because you have those spaces, those office spaces, and I know you need to have them because of what they are, but can those be daytime available can we regulate those, or can you regulate those to where the spaces in front of there are daytime parking only? So that at night, theory, when those apartment homeowners are home, those spots are available for them, right? And so that way, you're, so I'm saying they're kind of in and out. So you're forcing, okay, well, when I'm at work in my car, I'm not in front of the apartment or the office space. That's office space parking.
Right.
But in the evening when I'm home and all those people are home and all their cars are home, they're parking inside and not down the street.
Yes, I think we can definitely do something of that nature. Correct.
and hopefully they don't overlap and get in arguments in the morning.
They all quit. No one goes to work.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
I know, yeah.
So at the Palladium in an efficiency or a 1-bedroom, how many? They required 2 or 1?
Yeah, but Palladium got a variance.
We got a variance.
I think Palladium was like 1.67 or something.
They did a flexible development through grant. Palladium
Yeah.
And they reduced the requirements of parking on their 1-bedroom apartment from 2 to
And it's worked. I mean, because there's no alternative there but to go out on the highway.
Well,
So
I mean, I'm asking, you know, if we're thinking about long-term. And we know that Palladium, one parking works for some people. If you're the landlord. People will know what they're renting both for business and for living there. The guy's got 3 cars and he likes to repair them and he wants a one bedroom,
That's not gonna
go someplace else.
No.
Then that
And
would
how
work.
long has it been since we've had 20 units other than the Palladium built for long-term in Port Aransas?
The apartment complex off of Station Street. That was long-term that Mr. Hooton and Nathan built. That was probably back in, no, it's not anymore. It got converted, right? But it was probably, it's probably been at least 15 years ago. Yeah,
Probably the
15
gap.
years ago.
So 15 with the growth.
The Gaps was longer, but
Marlin
And
Court.
he's probably the only one that's built anything like that.
it's been a while.
what I was
That's
saying.
specifically for
Children's
long-term.
apartments,
Yeah, hers
for
are
long-term.
long-term. So it's.
I mean, I like the concept. We need more office space. We definitely need more long-term.
And the goal is not to allow me sell it down the road and it goes to short term. The goal is in the deeds.
It's
long
gonna
term.
stay forever.
Well, the flood locks it in.
Yeah.
True.
It'd be an illegal change of use. So this, just so you know, this FUD in perpetuity locks it in. Someone 20 years down the road can't undo it because it would require a change of use and they'd have to come back here
Right.
for a change of use permit.
Yes, sir.
So it's locked in.
So it's been a long time since we've had it.
Oh, long time.
Yeah.
What was I gonna ask? So,
Because it's
and I think
expensive.
someone,
It's hard
so
to
like,
get the
if they're,
numbers.
so for like the 2-bedroom unit,
So good. for you.
are they gonna be assigned 2 spaces or can 4 workers double up in there and then all of a sudden there's 4 cars?
They're gonna have 2 spaces.
Okay,
If
so
they're gonna have to make
that's
it work,
part of
it's
the
gonna
deal
cost
is that
them.
they're gonna be assigned,
Unit 102 has unit 102
Two at the
spots.
right
Okay.
place.
right?
And we'll have, we'll figure out, obviously, we're not there yet, but if we need to take license plates and hey, so-and-so's in my spot, well, yep, they do live here, let me call them, or no, they don't live here. Miss Woody's, come get a car.
There you go.
Or the right bikes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I have employees that live at Palladium and they have 0 cars and they have 2 bedrooms. They ride bikes. So,
Well, and this is
And
close
I
enough
kinda-
down that.
yeah.
I was looking at, what would go there otherwise and.
Yeah.
I think
Could
what
be a
would
little-
go there would be, you wouldn't have something like this, you wouldn't have a long building, you'd have 3-story. There's enough, I think, doing the 5,000 foot calculation where you probably would have 7 large STRs there that are still gonna be 3 stories, and you'd have them on both sides
Still need a.
of the
parking.
development. And the parking could all be underneath, so there's not, what, we're gonna see a 3-story product there, one way or the other,
Mhm.
definitely.
And as a member of this town, I've heard concerns, and that's what the goal of this is. I could go that direction. That's my inclination, right? That's what I do. I'm a builder. But I'm trying to provide something that I think is gonna work out for myself. I think it's gonna work out for the community and hopefully local businesses as well.
Does the city still have people that would like to, or you guys that have staff? Is this something that could possibly meet their needs by having something like this?
Oh, yeah, Palladium's
Cool.
full and
Your waiting list.
So when you're doing the parking calculation, the 2-bedroom is 2 spots, the 1-bedroom's 2 spots? So why can you just require your 1-bedrooms to only have 1 spot?
I'm trying to give a little bit more. I mean, I could,
Right.
but it changes things up. It potentially provides less parking than I can the way I've got it designed. If I if I designate 1 spots, I would actually lose 6 in my parking
Because you're
area
stacking.
because
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
stacking
Yeah.
and I can only do that with residential.
Right.
So
If you have a
that would,
couple, they.
but if I did
both have a
that,
car.
I would meet my requirements
Yeah.
and I wouldn't be
Oh.
standing here asking for the variance.
Right.
But this way, I actually can use the right of way and get a potential 6 to 8 more spots off-road parking. And that's why I'm proposing and requesting this design and layout.
Are there any long-term apartment complexes being requested to build?
We've not had any.
We don't have a stack of long-term apartment people. I'm just asking. I mean, we're trying to
You
do
mean
something that's good. for
breaking
the
down the
city.
doors.
No,
No,
no, but getting the value because it's a FUD.
right.
There's just very few opportunities. Obviously, as evidenced by the challenge, the difficulty even getting Palladium pulled off. And that was only because of post-Harvey, GLO money and some other things. Those stars don't align very often, not with the value of real estate right
The
now.
land cost is too much.
Yeah.
Nope.
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Okay, wait.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I did, I want to give the people who
Okay.
asked to speak on the option,
okay.
the option to.
Oh, I'm
speak.
sorry.
I know, it's okay. I was just waiting and for y'all
Thank
to
you,
get through the
Brandon.
questions. So there are, I'm going to read your names, and if you still want to speak, just tell me when I call out your name, and then you're more than welcome to come up for your 3 minutes, okay? So no particular order. Carl Moore.
State my name and my address.
Yes, sir.
My name is Carl Moore. My address is 629 West Avenue C. I think this concept is actually great. I really do. I think it would be wonderful to have in our town. I do think the density is in this particular location is going to be very difficult, and it's a challenge. I guess even looking at some of the details of the plan that was mailed out, there's just not enough information here for me to even give like what I would recommend if I was in your seat, and to provide some sort of idea to vote on what's happening here. And I think a lot of it comes down to measurements and sizes of parking spaces as well as designation. I know some of that's still in the early stages. But for me, maybe the best route here would be, why don't you remove some of the units, therefore allowing for enough parking and no more variance requests outside of addition, obviously at 39,000 square feet and needing, 20 units plus 6 office spaces. That's a considerable increase from 7 short-term rental homes or single family homes, depending on what you look at it. So there will still be a variance request there, but you would at least, I think the parking is your biggest issue when you look at this. So, thank you.
Thank you, Carl. Okay, Edward Chilson.
My wife is actually going to speak on my part, Meredith Medley.
Okay,
She wasn't able to come in earlier, so.
I will put you down, Meredith, because I know you. I know.
Backing,
Give me your address.
oh,
just so everyone else.
623 West Avenue C.
Mr. Brown's old house.
Yeah, Mr. Brown's old house.
Thank
With us being permanent residents, of course, it brings on a whole nother concern for us. We already have issues with parking with permanent residents throughout the island, especially when we have the season come in. My concern is looking like Mr. Moore had stated, there isn't really enough information on the schematic that was provided to all to really understand how everything's going to get packed in there. Double stacking the residential spots is a concern, especially if we're going to consider a 1-bedroom only having 1 spot. I mean, I don't see how that really pertains to this schematic right here, with it being stacked up the way that it is, and just getting all those things packed in there. And then you have office space with, as was pointed out earlier, we don't really know what's going in there. We're hoping we get certain people in there, but we don't really know. And people are just going to naturally overflow to the street if they don't have one of these designated parking spots, because the occupancy of a 2-bedroom, even if it can only be 2 parking spots, can allow for up to 4 people in a 2-bedroom. So, we can't say that it would be limited to just 2 cars. It's going to flood out into the street, and I can't speak more that is a concern for me, and just what our little island can take. We do have the Palladium, and I was set to understand that was going to take care of a lot of the long-term concerns. So unfortunately, I don't see how you can pack, 30 the need for 34 residential parking spots in that little bitty area, not even to consider trying to retrofit that existing building to be a residential living space. I mean, so my concern is that as a permanent resident, you know, we don't have as many of those as we used to. So I'd like to kind of keep it a little bit more leveled out there. So anything else, Ed?
Thank you.
Thank you both. All right, Herman Hamilton.
My name is Herman Hamilton, address 327 Sixth Street. I'd like to read a letter first, as I spoke to you earlier, from my neighbor Jeff Pierce. He couldn't be here because of health issues in his wife and unit passed.
Can you state his address too for the record, sir?
His address is 523 West Avenue D.
Okay.
But you'll get those letters and I'll read it. Then I'll go to mine.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I think I have enough there. To whom it may concern, this is concerning the flexible development proposal at 316 Sixth Street. My place, 523 West D Avenue of 40 years, is about 150 feet from the entrance to this property, so I'm very familiar with it and the surrounding area. I'm against this proposal for reasons. Number one, it has 8 commercial rental spaces, 2 of which are 3,500 square foot each, 1 workshop for rent, and zoned industrial. This could become just about anything: retail, entertainment, industrial, etc. There is not anywhere near enough parking. Number 2, building 20 apartments that could house a possible 68 people and 40 cars or trucks. The apartments have 34 bedrooms, which should require 34 parking spaces, and the city is at this time requesting to increase that number because of severe parking problems all over the town. There's not enough parking for the apartments alone, much less than 9 commercial rentals. He is requesting to build 4 times what is allowed by current ordinances, from 7 dwellings to 29, 20 apartments and 9 commercial, according to his own letter. Safety issues, accessibility, only 1 entrance for fire, EMS, police, garbage, 1 dumpster as far as we can see on that plat, for 9 businesses and 20 apartments. In conclusion, there is not enough parking for 8 commercial rentals, 2 3,500 square foot, 6 approximately 1,000 square foot units, and 20 apartments. Want 4 times what present ordinances allow. Safety issues, 1 small entrance, crowded parking, no place for fire, EMS, and police. Thank you, Jeff Pierce. That was my neighbor. Now I'd like to pass these around if good. This is my statement. Thank you, Dave. My concerns. I'll read each one of these and then I'd like to go back over a couple of things if I could. These are some of the current concerns that I have. First, quiet enjoyment. Existing homeowners has a right to an unimpaired use of their property. And we're hoping that this gentleman will adhere to section 4201 C2 of the penal code for the noise maintenance, to keep that down. We live right across the street from it. Okay, and parking. The parking at this point is very minimal at best for the existing homeowners. There is little to no room for existing homeowners to enter and exit their own property due to congestion of the size of the avenue and 6th Street. Existing homeowners won't take long to get annoyed by increased traffic, road congestion, and blocked driveways. The more staff and customers this business has, the more a problem it will become. We don't know if he's going to adhere to the section 25-159 A through 12, or if he's going to go through the shared parking A through E. I haven't heard that yet, spoke about it. I would like to present this one picture. Darren and I took, my neighbor, he'll speak in a little bit, took today. His pickup, my pickup, an Island Construction truck coming through it. Now, at time to time, and here's the place where Claude's gonna hit the parking sign. I've had many times, I'm trying to get out of my driveway, zigzag, and have to drive across the grass to get out the yard. My wife has several health issues. She has congestive heart failure, a defibrillator, and a pacemaker. And I've never taught somebody one day will have to come treat her, pick her up or do something. I know this, the doctors already told us this. I'm very concerned about that. Safety, this is it. Emergency medical services. With more congestion in the area, it'll be more difficult for the first responders to access a resident to it being obstructed. With longer response times to get, this will greatly impact the patient's outcome. I'd like to add this too. Every three times a week, the trash company comes in and they come over and they pick up trash from the Tropic Island. The man has to pull up there. He gets out of his truck. It's sitting here sideways in 6th Street. I got it on video. You can watch it. I took it today. He gets out and he opens the gate, goes back and gets in his truck, goes up there and lifts the buckets up and comes out and has to get past the phone lines to lift it up. So he's holding it across 6th Street, back plumb up into the neighbor's yard, Mark Bentley's, to get it picked up. Then he goes back and sets the trash bucket back. Then he backs out, truck sitting in the 6th Street. Then he goes up and closes the gates. Now, I've owned this property for 21 years. Okay, Tropic Island used to have their trash bucket inside and they would pick it up off of 361 Cutoff Road. Now they've moved it to just sold out here. So it's always blocking the road. If EMS had to get to my place or anybody else's, there'd be a problem. They will have the same problem here if it's not addressed for the traffic, pick up the trash. Security. Number 4, increased potential in vandalism or break-ins. There's a possible increase in the illegal sale and distribution of controlled substance in the area. We know that it's happening everywhere. More lighting will have to be implemented and would cause light intrusion. This would have adverse impacts on existing homeowners and their property, especially these folks here and us across the street from us. Okay. I don't know. I haven't seen anything or heard anything on his proposal if he's going to address section 25-163 of the lighting codes here in this town. I don't know if he's going to address section 25-166 of the lighting codes. He doesn't meet none of that. Don't see none of it. Y'all haven't brought that up yet. We have to live there. Okay. All right. Health risks. With some of the residents having extreme health issues, lung cancer, lymphoma cancer, and heart disease, my wife being one of them, me being another, and my neighbor's wife across the street being another. Exposed to hazardous chemicals or toxic odors would increase or potential of fatal outcome. What businesses would be allowed on his premises? Now, once this is approved, if it's approved, how long, how's he going to control that? Somebody might come in there and want to put in a small body shop, start spraying all kinds of chemicals and stuff, using acetones, using all kinds of stuff. We don't know what's going to be there. Y'all don't know what's going to be there. How's he going to control that? Number 1. Okay. Waste management. Number 6. The third structure that's being built with the existing 2 structures and having a restricted certain number of parking spaces on the premises. Where will the proposed location of the commercial dumpsters be located? That's what I'm asking. Again, no room on 6th Street or next to the residential property. With the health risk issues, what would be the plan for the disposal of any chemicals or hazardous substance that might be used in one of these storage units or whatever? Now, on that, we're talking about on all these risks and stuff we got. Let me explain something to you. The school bus stops at the Tropic Island and picks up children. I'm assuming they'll be stopping here at this place to pick up children. Also, the B trolley comes by there. And I know this, when the pod house is rented out on the corner and it's loaded up with people, they're parked from their concrete wall out to the curb of the city, on the city street, plumb down to that man's place. I come in with a boat. I have to, if there's nobody in this lane over here at the stop sign, I have to swing plumb out in oncoming traffic to make a turn to come in. If there's somebody at the stop sign, I can't even make it. I have to go down another block, come back any other way. EMS would be the same difference, same problems. Noise pollution. Time of business operations. That hadn't been addressed. Okay, we know if you go back over to the penal code 42-01, from 10:30 PM to 7 AM is quiet time according to the state of Texas. And the only recourse we have would be call the city sheriff or police department. So we've got a problem over here. Then they'd have to address it every time, and there will be problems. That many units sooner or later. Time of business operations, people coming and going at all hours of the day and night. Commercial trucks, waste management coming in early morning hours would have a direct impact on the residential population in the area, and that affects the residents' quality of life. Also, playground. If this is going to be for a working man, and I've been one all my life, you're going to have a family, okay? And if you got kids, you're going to have a grandkid or two. There's no place here for a little, not even little bitty sandbox for a child to play in. Every day by 4 o'clock, you come by my place and just watch. There'll be 3 to 5 children come up the avenue on electric motor, little carts or electric skateboards, just a flying. And there's cars that rips down 6th Street. I'll guarantee you 45 miles an hour. I can video them and let you see it. Somebody's gonna get killed there, but we're gonna have an issue there with more congestion. Parking is the number one thing, because if somebody comes to your house and you ain't got room in your parking in your spot, it's your house, where are they gonna park? On the street. I know there's extra parking could be out there on the city property, but you can't count that. But if every one of these people's got a parking spot, okay, and you got different hours, and you go up here and your parking spot's right up here at the front, you can't get out. If you can't get out of there, or you're not gonna park there, you're gonna park somewhere else. Designated parking does not work too well. It can be worked, but it has to be enforced very strictly. He would have to do that. The value, this could negatively affect the property values nearby, hurting not only property values, but also negatively impacting taxes. Having too many businesses with no room left for parking spaces will negatively impact nearby home values. Anytime they have somebody come over and they don't have room to park in there, they're going to park on the street. And that street's in front of my house with a sick wife. It's in front of that man's house, and other people's houses. And if EMS can't get down there to us, or the police department can't get to us, we're messed up. Even in the daytime, if you got the trash company here dumping or picking up, they can get in here fine. But if they're over here in front of us, they can't get to us. They're going to have to go down D or to Gulf and come up D to get to my house. And that's not acceptable. You know, the parking is bad. It needs to be, I think, looked at real close. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Craig King.
Thank you for letting me come and speak with you. My name is Greg King. I live at 317 6th Street, directly across the street. If you look at the overhead, you'll see that my entire front entrance is cement. And even with the previous owner, I had problems with his employees and customers coming in and out of his property, coming across and parking in my driveway and on my property, because I'm very convenient.
You have a lot of extra parking.
I have a lot, which unfortunately a lot of people take care of and use. As my neighbor so eloquently put it, even the house on the pot house on the corner, lots of parking. They tried parking my place before. So yeah.
You rent it out?
No, I do not.
Charge.
In fact, if you notice, the truck that's there in that trailer is not mine either.
Oh, no
So
way.
in this picture,
No way.
somebody's parking there that's not supposed to be there.
Oh, my.
So,
God.
yeah. So
That's crazy.
that is what I'm concerned about. He's a private owner. He owns the property. He has the right to do with what's probably what he needs to. I agree with that. But 8 commercial units, you cannot ultimately control down the road what they're using those properties for. How many people are going to be coming in and out? If you have an office, generally you're going to have customers walk in traffic. Where are they going to park? 20 residential units, 1 and 2 bedrooms. Yes, there may be some units with no cars, bicycles, or 1 car. But hey, I live in a neighborhood with some other homes where people have 5 cars and they're down the driveway and down the curves. You don't know. I just don't think there's going to be enough parking spaces for as much as he wants to put on that property. If he wants to reduce it to allow more parking spaces for what's there, that would be okay. But for what he's proposing, there's just not going to be enough parking spaces to put there. And one more emotional thing, council people, if you heard that this project was going to come across the street from your home, you know you're going to be having flashes of, wow, that's going to be this, that's going to be bad, this is going to happen, there's going to be noise, there's going to be traffic, there's going to be trash. You know, think about that and then decide whether he is being adequate enough in his preparation and consideration of everybody else in the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Darren Rhodes.
Hello, folks. Darren Rhodes, 3216 6th Street, which is, that's an old picture. That is very old.
Google Earth.
So yeah, we've changed a bunch of stuff, put a pool in there and fifth wheel's not there. That was right after Harvey. But our concern is that street, and you saw the picture where we parked our trucks today, and it's 10'7" mirror to mirror when we're sitting on the curbs with our trucks. So the Island truck came through and he actually put the brakes on and almost stopped, went through, rolled his window down. I was standing right there and he's like, whoa, that was close. Yeah. So I don't know what the fix is, because we know there's going to be more vehicles than that lot whole. We know it just with the equations. So what is the plan for the additional vehicles? Where are they going to park? Because right now, like they said, when the pod house is going, they go all the way down the street. They had a party one night that went all the way past the mini storages. They were parked in front of our house, in front where the little grass, where you can see the, is that that's a, well, no, that's not current, but that is, we added parking. So where that grass is and that palm tree is, where the white truck's sitting, they were parked there. So they were half in our parking, half in Herman's parking. And they were in front of Craig's place and all the way to the stop sign. And that becomes a 1-lane road. So that is a pretty good distance between C and those mini storages. And there is no sidewalks. So every day in the morning, people come out of Tropical Isle walking their dogs. They're walking on the street. When the vehicles are parked against that curb, they have to walk in the street. They don't walk in the grass. So that is a serious safety hazard in our acts. And I think there's going to be something bad happen when this thing, you know, it's his building, it's his business. You know, we know everybody's got to make money, but I think that is a setup for disaster. Because Murphy's Law, you're not going to stop people from parking. And nowadays, nobody has boundaries. They don't respect your property line. They don't respect your parking areas. None of that. I mean, we've had people that have actually, before we put that pool in, we've had people parked in that grass area at our house.
Oh, no.
And had to run them out. So it is, I don't know how it's going to end up, but I think there's some serious concerns with the traffic that's going to come from that. But, you know, with the fire, all that, like Herman said, I'm not going to go through all that again, but I think, you know, I think a reduction or changing it to where you can have the vehicles you need. I know if you pull those vehicles in like you're talking about and adding those 8 parking spots, then you eliminate that curb line. So what happens when people want to park on the curb is they're gonna block your vehicles. The stack parking, we were talking about it earlier. If you're gonna park a car here and you're gonna park a car here, and you have to rely on that person behind you, what if you need to get out? And you can't find that person? Because that's what some of that parking is. So. I don't know, that's our position. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, those are all the people that were signed up to speak during that item. So,
I'm very conflicted about this one. And it has definitely some public benefit being the apartments, but then there are very valid reasons on the other side as to why it needs modifications. So, I mean, I don't know that I have an answer right now on this one.
Says options are to approve as submitted, deny or modify with changes.
I mean, personally, I think it needs some slight modifications, but that's just my
I
opinion.
think we need to iron down the uses in those storage buildings. I mean, we gotta know that, are 5 employees showing up?
But there's a very big public benefit with
Yeah.
long-term rental. The apartments are pretty good size. Right?
I mean, that's why I said I'm conflicted on this. I mean,
And yet, and that's why I don't think, you'll have people with parties, but it's not gonna be, people that are coming here for a weekend are gonna be partying. It's not gonna be as bad as that.
It's not like short-term.
No,
rentals.
it won't be like that,
Yeah.
and so. What kind of changes, I guess, would you suggest modify the changes?
I think for one, his garbage container can't be a 90-degree pickup. It's got to be angled somehow to where the truck's coming in at 45 degrees. He's not going to be able to. He's not going to be able to come in at a 90. That's kind of not very realistic. Because right now they show the dumpster being right here in the corner with a 90-degree drive coming out, which means that the garbage truck's gonna have to come in, do a 90, pick up, put down, come back out.
And if there's a car on the other side, it's not gonna happen.
Yep.
Correct.
They will not pick up that garbage.
You've got one dumpster. Is there a limit on, number?
No, I mean, they're dumpsters. I mean, it says the dumpster rule is under section 9-4, location of containers. Each container shall be placed for collection at a location within the property's boundaries without interfering with or endangering the movement of vehicles or pedestrians. So it has to be something that's.
is there any way to red stripe one side of the street to try to help with some of the parking issues along the whole street regarding all the residential issues? I mean, not just what potentially could happen with this project, but what's happening with some of the other properties around there?
Is this on the list for red striping?
No,
No, but it sounds like it needs to be.
yeah,
Where'd Rick go?
already added to it.
Right. I mean, stacked parking. Who's gonna stack? The single units?
Each individual unit will have,
Two parking.
unit 2, those are the ones that can stack.
Brandon, you come back to the front, Siri, that way everyone can see and hear you.
So each household.
So let's say unit 102 has a lane. Unit 102 has those 2 parking spots in line. So if the first one has to get out, then yes, spouse, brother, girlfriend, I need you to move the car or I'll take your car.
There are gonna be 2 people.
Yes,
waiting
and
out
that's
there. The stack is.
standard.
Houses on stilts for years. And you park 2 cars underneath.
Yeah, that's not a unique
That's
concept.
not new.
No.
In a regular driveway. you stack cars.
No, like I stack at my house.
Right, so,
We did it on-
yeah, they're gonna have to coordinate.
Right.
the
And it'd
stack.
just be like if you got home before your wife or vice versa,
Right.
you'd say, hey, I need to leave first. Can you move your car or I'll just take yours?
And also to clarify, I know we've seen all your big plans and these residences have not, but you have enough space for a fire truck to go through.
Correct.
Okay, just.
Yeah, we've
clarifying
looked at
that.
the fire line.
Okay.
How are you gonna limit the concerns? I mean. Certainly, nobody's gonna wanna live above a woodworking shop and they're working to get cabinets done for
There-
tomorrow's job.
Like that was stated, there's certain hours you can work.
Okay.
Period. When it comes to paint fumes and all that, there's actually certain businesses that are not allowed to work underneath residential spaces. And again, my architect is helping me with that. So we're gonna put together a list of who can and cannot work there. I'm pretty firmly certain that body shops can't be under living spaces. It has to be certain people that meet requirements. So yes, there's gonna be a lot of stipulations and it's,
If this stays industrial and you just put garages, not houses. The limitations in just industrial use or garage, are they as stringent as having them above or can
no,
they
sir, you have
do whatever they want?
you have much more leeway on that.
I mean, with the concerns. I mean, parties, we have noise ordinances. In town, that's something, when they arise, you have to deal with them.
And you own this place and you're gonna manage.
Yes,
this.
ma'am.
You have management
Yes.
property manager.
Correct.
I mean, I think something that someone brought up is, down the road, 20 years down the road, it gets sold, then, that management, that's not there anymore. That's what, I mean, one citizen did bring up,
The goal for this is keep it in my family.
Oh, no, I
The
understand
The
that.
LLC is actually my kids' middle names because the intent is for them to inherit it. Now, if down the road they decide to change and do something else, then yes, it goes away. They have to knock down the buildings. They have to start from scratch. And that, to me, that's a no-brainer. And I know people are concerned about parking. I am not opposed to having, again, Woody's, hey, this car's not in the right spot. I can't find the owner. Tell them. I mean, I understand parking is parking, but there are guidelines that the city's put in place that need to be followed. I have no qualms with addressing those kind of issues.
And it would be same as a parking in an apartment where there's assigned parking or a covered parking.
Correct.
If you get home and there's somebody in your assigned parking.
We're gonna have a number to
You
call.
just call.
And
it
the other,
gets towed, and
and
everybody
the other
knows.
part of that is we have that parking that's for the offices. Those spots are gonna be open. So for the time being, you can park there, make a phone call. That person can be notified or it can be towed.
So all the ways in which you run your business are not part of what we're trying to approve here. That's down the road
Correct.
and how well. You're asking for just not putting in 6 parking spaces.
I'm asking for the flexibility on those 4 issues.
Oh, what, say that again, Dale?
Well, he's asking to be 62 versus 56. 62, he doesn't ask for a parking variance. He's asking for,
Yeah,
56.
but here's the glitch.
okay,
That is assuming storage use.
okay.
That is not assuming using those storages as a business where you might have 4 employees come in for each one. So that's my main concern. You have 6 medium-sized offices and structures and you have 2 large ones. What if you have 16 employees rolling in every day? It's a bust. That means you're gonna have 16 out on the street.
Right.
So that's my fear is that we're not controlling. Right now, the application was developed with those as storage. That's what P and Z looked at. P and Z looked at their calculation as storage units.
This is exactly what they looked at.
Right, I
It's
know that's my
designed.
fear. They looked at storage units. They didn't look at, is this potentially gonna be a business with 4 employees coming to each one? I don't think they reviewed it in that manner.
No. Nicole, do you know?
I think they reviewed it as storage.
I'm
Right,
sorry.
they reviewed it as storage.
Okay.
Yeah, one office and storage.
But wouldn't that be up to the responsibility of the landlord in a private area?
Yeah, but
To
it's
deal
what
with
you're
it. To
approving.
get
If you're
parking.
approving him to do businesses in there, then you're giving him the green light
Unless you restrict.
unless you restrict it. But right now, that's my fear is that that's a wild card. You don't know if there could be 8 businesses with a whole bunch of employees or not. We don't know. But
That's
you have
not
to,
the-
you have to assume that, maybe there's 2 or 3 in each one. That's,
2 or 3 employees in each one, is that? what you're
yeah,
saying?
yeah, that's 24 spaces.
So how can we,
You would hope the landlord wouldn't sign a lease like that.
Yeah, but
If I may,
Okay.
but David, if the code requires one, if we
doesn't.
follow, what does it require?
a storage unit requires one,
Mhm.
not a woodworking shop, not a
This is,
pottery studio.
this
not a-
layout is an office space with
It's-
storage. Like I even have lines in the.
Right,
floor of
but
the
a
office
storage,
space.
a storage isn't a woodworking shop that has employees coming. Storage is me getting a Mark Grossi boat barn and going over to it once a month and picking out some belongings or sticking in a couple boxes. That's what those are. That's where the parking calculation on those is. The storage parking calculation on a storage unit is the lowest in the city, and it's for storage. It isn't for a business. And once a business is in there, we have to know what the use is. Because they're all different. Every use is different, and every use, if you look at our parking calculation, every use has a different parking requirement for it. So without knowing the uses, you guys are just guessing at what the parking requirement should be. That's the dilemma.
So of the 11,000 square foot of storage, it's 1 per 1,000, 1 per 1,000 square feet. So you have 11.6 spaces for that 11,000 square feet of storage. What is the proposed lease space? To Dave's point, like, is there, walk me through the breakdown of that. Is it of the 11,000 square feet? How many individual leased spaces would there be for a business?
I'm trying to. I'm not understanding.
So what is that break? I mean, it's not one large 11,000 square foot
Correct.
storage space for one business,
Yes.
right? So of that 11,000 square feet of storage space, how many potential different tenants is that? 8?
8 or 9. I think
Two,
there's
two in the big
Mhm.
unit,
Two
like
in the
you said,
big,
one is you,
2
one
in the
is
big,
somebody.
6 in the small,
So 6 in the small.
and then I've
That's
got,
okay.
but there's one other side building that could be rented. So there's 9 total.
Oh, good, that's right. There's a small building over
Mhm.
there
So what
right
would the
now.
calculations, Dave, be if it was? You know,
So it's a little over 1 space per.
no, I was-
Where's the small building at?
It's on the side of the large building.
Okay, where
To the
that
north side.
carport like is right
so
now.
if it was used for
Okay.
something, you know, like
Oh,
someone had let's say a woodworking shop in there or something.
so was it 6 office and then like 2 large storage, 2 large units with storage?
Yeah.
6 office with warehouse space or storage space, and then 2 larger units with
Oh,
office and
6
storage.
office with
space.
warehouse space.
It's that, yeah.
Okay,
These over and under.
right, mine's all.
Mhm.
So what, yeah, let me see, okay.
The majority of that is the large building though, correct, Brandon?
Yes, ma'am.
So.
What's
of
the large one, like 8,000?
I was gonna say,
7,000.
7,000 square feet.
7,000.
So of the 6 small retail spaces, they truly are very small retail space.
Yes.
So you're not gonna have 20 people going to
No.
one each. I mean, it's just,
Correct.
can't put 20 people in
Again,
there.
I
anyway.
see someone like Texas Sign Shops who I've only seen one person there and one person come up and get their stuff and keep going. Again, the embroidery shop. Sometimes no one's there. Sometimes two people are there. Sometimes they've had four. They have a meeting and then they leave. But it's not everyday continuous use.
Right, not like a retail.
And
or
so,
hair
you know,
salon.
I know the fear is the maximum, like what is the worst case scenario? How often does that happen? I mean, we have an event here at the city hall. It's going to be a madhouse. Parking is not to code, but it happens very rarely. And the city allows it, and that's okay, because it does happen every now and then. I'm not saying it will never happen, but I'm going to monitor as best I can to make sure it is minimized to the extent it can be. Whatever goes here is going to have a parking issue. Whether I put 7 houses, whether I do this, folks are going to have a problem with parking because it is property that hasn't been utilized. It's been, quite frankly, a bit of a junkyard before I got it. So we're trying to do something different and trying to benefit the city instead of doing more STRs. Because if I was presenting with STRs, I would get the same pushback.
Right, well, and you could potentially have the same parking issue. So again, I mean, I don't have concern for the parking that's on site because what's there is there and that's what they get. And if you tell them they get 1 spot or 2 spots, that's what they get. How do we prevent the overflow from the street? So I'm going back to my question. Can we red stripe that side of the street to prevent some of that? And to eliminate or cure some of the existing parking problems before Mr. Lafayette does anything?
Well, you really, if your goal is to eliminate people from spilling out into the street, you have to red stripe all of it.
The whole
You know, it's
street?
kind of like friendly fire.
No, I'm not
I
saying
mean-
just red stripe in front of him. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, you'd have
is
to
that
red
one? I mean,
stripe.
we have a whole list of where we want to red stripe. Is that one of the areas that we want to red stripe? To help them with their parking issues?
Yeah, because the pot house, if there's strewn all out in the street, where's all their parking? And how many people can they put in their house?
Yeah, I'm trying to find a solution.
Yeah.
Because I really like this idea. I want to find a solution to.
You know, so for like getting back to the storage, what they calculated was one per unit. So for example, like the big building, it's 7,000 square feet. So he was charged 2 for each office and then 1 and 1 for the storage. So 1, 2, 3, 4 for that 8,000 or 7,000 square foot. If it was any kind of shop or retail, you're looking at that's probably half.
If it were full retail.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, it's not going to be full retail. I'm not planning to put a shop that sells things or clothes or anything like that. This is more for the working people that need a place, that are in a boat barn that quite frankly might need a place that they can work.
Can you get an alternative parking from your neighbor? The boat barn's next to you. Do they have extra parking over there?
No comment.
I don't know who that is. I mean, I don't- Okay, any other suggestions? We have options: approve, deny, or approve with conditions. Is it possible to table the item for further modifications if we think there need to be?
That's always an option.
So the issue is just the parking. As far as us approving this.
I mean, I'm
think
not
that
saying it is or it
seems to be
isn't. I'm just trying to address what some of the concerns seem to be from what y'all's comments are.
I think the concerns just comes down to the parking with everybody, so.
And we can make some suggestions on what he needs to do to try to remedy that and
So
go forward.
You have any thoughts, Brandon?
I've been working on this for
I
over
know.
6 months.
I know.
I've played with the layout for about 4 of those months. This is the maximum you can put in parking on that property as it stands. Could I make it less? Yes, but it's not viable at that point. So we lose on that opportunity. I
Yeah,
have to do something that makes financial sense. And, you know, some people don't understand that. And I'm sorry they don't. But it is part of
no, I
the
get it.
process.
I get it.
Right.
I really can't go back and forth. I'm sorry, Herman. I don't know if you have, but
I just have, like I asked one thing. It don't really have anything to do with, it has everything to do with him and being everybody else. Just one question.
sure.
Is there a possibility that the city would put in a roundabout at end of Sixth Street and Cutoff Road? That is a cluster to try to get out of there. I got somebody else
That's a
that-
different topic.
It's a different subject.
Off that ferry, and if anybody has to go to work, you can't, and they're adding more people. The traffic, they're not gonna just go down to Seattle. They're gonna be going every which way. And just kind of keep the traffic flowing again. I think there's probably enough room, when I looked at it pretty close.
Roundabout. You know, write that down.
You can't put a red light there,
Yeah,
the pole coming out.
sure.
But if you had a roundabout there, they would help relieve some of the pressure on traffic.
Okay, thank you. All right. So Dave has suggested some things. Brandon suggested that he will commit to being the parking Nazi. Dave said modifying garbage container. I mean, is that something that would be in the FUD approval? So if we chose to move forward, or would that be before he
I think
moves
we
further
can,
down the
I
road?
think when he submits his civil, we'll address that.
Yeah.
So again, it's a FUD. We're approving a FUD with these exceptions. So
So if we approve the fund with the exceptions, Dave, does he have to make modifications on the garbage, for example?
Oh, yeah, like that one. Yeah.
That would come up
Yeah.
at a later date.
I don't think there are. Have you guys made any other exception? I mean, you haven't really discussed anything else you would. I think it would be safe to put a maximum number of employees in each of those storage and office spaces. I think to me, that's the Achilles heel. Having 15 workers show up, I think you're gonna be just. The whole thing's gonna bust and spill out on the 6th Street. I think you gotta limit it.
as far as the type of business which would lend to the fewer people, is that something we need to include in the FUD as well?
Or just, I think you just say no more than 2 employees or whatever the number is. Maximum number of employees in the 2 big units and a maximum number in the 6 small ones.
But if the employees all get there in one car, that's not
Yeah, I think you gotta
helpful.
limit
Yeah,
the
I mean, like if you're,
I think.
Yeah,
it's gotta be big.
can't limit. I mean,
Right, I mean, like if you have a truck full of 6 employees, that's one truck, 6.
Right, but you limit the cars. How you limit it in car that's parked out on 6th Street?
But is this something we're supposed to solve right now during this meeting, or should this be
You don't
tabled
have
and sent
to.
back to
PNC.
P and Z or Rick and come up with some suggestions?
It depends on how you guys vote.
Brandon, I like the plan.
Yeah.
I mean, I think all of us sitting up here, the reason this is taking so long is we do understand. That you have to make financial sense out of this, okay? We're simply not that dense. We understand that you do need to make this thing work financially.
Right.
And we're trying to make it work financially, but we also have a bunch of people here that have very valid concerns.
Understood.
Can we do one more? Can we get by another one?
You know, if you take out one of the units, you can put in more parking spaces, but then you're putting more cars on that lot.
Yeah.
If you make your project smaller and turn it into parking, now you got more cars coming in and it's not viable. I mean, letting people know, look, you can have your business here, but you have 2 parking spaces. That's it.
I think it's 1.
One.
What's the,
Just
what's,
what they-
what's
One
this?
for small, two per
But that was office.
What is
Yeah.
this thing here
It's a cinder block building,
and what's its use?
undetermined at this time.
Okay, that's another, so you guys didn't
No,
discuss that?
that's included.
It's included
That's
in
not-
there. It's on that.
It's not, or it is
It's less
included.
than 1,000 square feet.
Yeah,
So, but the use, again, we're getting back to use. There's an unknown use there. I mean, that, if it's storage, it's one parking space. If it's more business and retail, now it's more parking.
But understand, none of this would be retail.
Well, okay, not even retail. Let's say it's a wood shop for 10 guys. We don't know what it is. That's
Let's
our
be
problem.
realistic, though. Are you gonna put 10 guys in 1,000 square feet?
I am. Here's the thing. Usually when we approve stuff, we know what the use is. I've never been in a situation where I'm approving something and we don't know what the use is.
A
We
shopping
don't do
center?
that.
No,
You
so
knew who
I
was
mean,
gonna rent that?
We don't do it at P and Z.
the shopping center is retail. What he's saying is it storage? Is it retail? What is? And so shopping center, you're gonna fully assume it's all retail. So your parking is decided upon that it's gonna be full retail.
Right.
Right. And then if a retail business of a restaurant wants to go in there, then there needs to be additional parking because,
It changes.
you know, so if in that case, that retail business could not go in there if there's not enough existing parking.
Right.
So based on your layout, whatever that building is right now, I mean, I
Could
don't
be
care.
nothing but storage.
It could be nothing but storage because you don't have parking otherwise. So if you did want to make it a restaurant, you couldn't because you don't have
Exactly.
parking.
And
Well,
to
if
me,
you
that's
wanted
a
to put two
terminus.
employees in there doing woodwork, you couldn't do it.
They could have one.
Because we don't, right now, that use that's assigned to that is nothing
No,
but
we said it-
storage.
But understand that I
Yeah.
can park inside that space. I can't call it a parking spot though, but I can park in there. Same with these warehouses. I could put a car in that warehouse. I just can't designate it as a parking spot. Same with the front. I can put 6 to 8 more cars out there. I just can't designate it as a parking spot.
Well, that's not my point. My point was,
You don't know what it is and I get
we don't
that.
know what it is and
But did you allot for a spot for that building?
Yes.
Okay.
a
So-
well, technically, what's that?
what did P?
Okay, so technically you did lock in the use,
Uh,
storage, and it can't be anything else
Okay.
from here into eternity.
I think.
It is storage. That's what I'm trying to get at. It's like, it can't be unknown. It can't be too determined. It has to be, we have to know what that use is. So P and Z said storage,
For all of the spots except for the office space.
right? And that's my point I'm getting at.
Okay.
P and Z deemed everything storage with a one parking.
And what she said.
Now it's different.
Per 1,000 square
Right.
feet, right? So the 8,000 square foot building, 7,000 square foot building is gonna get however many spots
The office.
minus the office spaces for that. I mean, I think if that's the way it's proposed, then he's got to understand that
Right,
that's. in per-
right. But my point, here's my point. It's not storage. All those uses could change. Could be a
Well,
woodworking shop,
Not
could
if
be
we
a pottery,
approve it that way.
but I don't think he wants it that way. You don't want it to all be deemed storage, right?
No, that's why I put the walls up. It separates office and storage space.
Okay,
He's
but
got
do
office-
you understand storage
Office
Yes,
with-
cannot be used as
Storage.
anything else?
Yes.
Can't be woodworking, you can't do fabric sewing. It's nothing. It is people putting boxes in it.
Okay.
I know, but
Yeah,
about
but-
30 minutes ago, these were all gonna be different businesses. So I'm really confused.
They have business space, they have business space in front. And then the rest of it is storage. So that.
Pure storage, no employees back there.
I mean.
No, I mean,
what
they
I
might,
mean, Right.
if someone has an employee and comes and gets something, is that? Okay?
Right, but we're about 40 minutes ago, we were discussing a wood shop possibly being.
Cabinet maker, yes, I thought.
Okay,
about that
so
because I
there we
see-
go. So
I see
that's,
Cabinet guys in boat barns right now.
But that would be storage to his.
That's not-
point.
I know,
It's
but
like he would have
So if it-
office space. that's-
my
If a
point
cabinet
is,
guy can work in a boat barn, which they do. How is that any different than them working in an actual office with the same area?
because Boat Barn has a different parking allowance than
It's
storage.
one
I guess they don't
spot.
have
I think per
houses on
thousand.
top of them.
But you're also not allowed to work in boat barns,
Yeah, that's true.
and yet it happens.
But what? How is it?
Well, that's really not what we're discussing today.
What I'm saying though is, if that's allowed, I'm trying to get them out of boat barns and work in an actual office. Now, if you say it's not, and that's a no-no, okay, fine, they can still work in a boat barn. I'll
I'm
find
just
someone
making
else.
it clear to council that the Planning and Zoning Commission, the use that they approved was for storage. Right?
In the office space.
And
And the
And
office space. But the office space doesn't mean your storage is now a workshop for 3 employees. That's my point.
Right.
It has no employees in it. 0.
It could have one, right? Because we can park one car in front of it.
Spot for.
All right, you get 1, but that's my point. My point is, what if there's 4 workers in it?
Then they can't come.
And they can't come.
There you go. Codify that.
Well, I mean, I think that's the only way to make it work.
State that the storage units get one person, 1 parking spot.
It is stated, that's, I mean, that's.
It was not.
But the parking is counted for that. That's what I'm saying.
Unless it is something different. Unless it is a woodworking shop with 5 guys back there, then you're a bust. The parking doesn't work.
Right.
Now you got 5 trucks showing up for 1, and you got 6 others, you got 7 others to deal with.
I think this needs to go back to P and Z would be my recommendation.
But for what? Because he's not asking to change anything, so we can't send it back to P and Z without directive. They've approved it as submitted and he's not asking to change that. So
I mean, it-
With due respect, he mentioned one of those.
P and Z passes it.
Now, does he really know what he's gonna put in there? Because I've never seen a real estate office in my life with 1 employee. Ever. You check out here on the island anywhere. It's not fully explained what he's gonna put in there.
Because we don't know yet. We've got to have people, I don't know who wants to rent a
Okay.
spot. I'm hoping,
this is, we are not doing this.
understood.
I've made this rule over and over again. I give you the opportunity to speak, but not to debate. We have a lot of items left and I've got a long way to go in this meeting, okay? So I've given you lots of time, Herman, and I appreciate your comments, but I do not want you, this is really our discussion time, okay? I'm sorry, I can't have big debate back and forth. It's not conducive to
Understood.
making anything happen, okay? Brandon, you too, all right, please.
So we need to table this or talk about
Okay,
what modifications we.
right. We can,
Because maybe we can go back, I'm sorry.
no, I'm just, you need direction is, if you table it, that's fine. But if you do no action, it's deemed approved.
Oh,
So
that's
if
right.
you want to table something, then you have to.
Not with a FUD. That's a plat.
But
There's no deemed approve on this. That's just.
But if you
yeah.
table it, you need to have action. We can't let an applicant sit around and
Right.
not know what it is we want. So if we know what changes we want or things that we want to put within the FUD, then do it now. Or say you don't want to do it at all. But if sending it back to P and Z, you need to define what it is you want P and Z to do. Because if the applicant's not asking to change anything,
So I mean,
then
so,
you need to define what you want changed.
well, so I mean, that's, I guess, Brandon, that's where my confusion's coming in, you know. It started out as businesses being in there, but then it's only approved for storage. So there's a difference, and I guess that's where my conflict is.
Will you pull up the schematic so it can explain like what the difference be, I mean, where the office space is and where the storage space. Okay.
Yeah, I see them, I mean.
Well, I don't think that's changed.
If I understand it correctly, I have an office space with storage.
Okay.
Per David, I can have 2 people in that office space / storage, right? Parking wise. 2 people can be there at one time. Is that correct? Now, let me ask you this. I'm just out of curiosity. If I have 2 people there and they leave and another 2 people come, is that still okay?
Like you're picking nits, but.
But you know what I'm getting at? I'm saying, I'm just curious.
That should be no
But,
different than any. other
but
retail.
any of that is, the answer is 2 spots per unit. Now, the bigger spot, I believe we've accounted for a few more per unit. And if not, that's what the extra 6 to 8 spots outside would be for. On the bigger units. Like I think we're allowed 3 to 4 over there on the bigger, 2 bigger ones, but everything else at one time, 2 parking spots per unit. which again, by code, it meets it. If you're less than 200 square feet for an office, you need one spot. If you're less than 1,000 square feet, you need one spot for storage.
I agree with you. First keyword,
Storage,
storage.
correct. So if I have
Not
two people,
woodworking, not a pottery studio.
understood. If I have two people,
So if we sent this back to P and Z and asked them to specifically.
Well, I think if he wants to commit to storage,
is
That right now with.
you're golden,
is,
but that's the use.
but let me ask this, if two people are there and there's a cabinet guy and a helper
In the little office.
in the office, and I mean, they can both enter the storage room at the same time, right?
It's business as 5.
Can they work? As
And
a-
now it's a woodworking shop, right? That's what you're getting at. It's a woodworking
So
shop,
what's
right?
code require there?
I don't know. I'd have to look it up. Or if one's and that's my point. We have this floating use thing.
Right, because we
And-
don't know. I
And
don't
we
have.
don't deal with floating uses. That's my whole point. We don't have a floating use thing.
So how do I designate it for the city to be comfortable?
You tell us what the use is.
I,
Like when someone built the shops at Port A, they say, this one's a restaurant with X amount of tables.
Mhm.
These 5 are retail. And so we know exactly how to calculate parking. But if the shops at Port A came to us and said, we don't know at this point, they might end up all being restaurants, then we would say, here's your plan. Go figure it out, because we can't operate like that, because we don't deal in unknowns.
correct.
We have to have the use designated. The use has to be
So what's the
designated.
designation for working people? It's not gonna be retail. It's not gonna be a restaurant.
It
What would be
varies,
the
like, for
designation?
example, manufacturing. Manufacturing as determined by the administrator. So what that means, if someone's manufacturing something,
Mhm.
then Rick and the staff and myself, someone comes and says, we want to manufacture cabinets. We're gonna sit down and go, all right, what's the square footage? How many woodworkers are you gonna have?
Right.
And we're gonna come up with a number, but that's how we would derive it. Can I do it right here on the fly? No, I'd have to figure it.
Understood.
I'd have to figure that out.
I get that.
I mean, so there's, we have 2 pages of different stuff.
Table it.
So that's.
Just
so
How about
this is
you-
taking too long.
How about you withdraw your application
Withdraw
until
your
you can
application.
figure out exactly what your retail / storage spaces are gonna be? And then come back with a new parking plan. Maybe it's not different at all.
Right,
Maybe it is.
okay. It's
Or
retro.
and we can table it to the next meeting where you've had time to figure that out.
Sounds good.
All right.
We good? Done?
Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone who came and spoke. I appreciate you coming and voicing your opinion.
I have a request. Can we move item U up? Because I think there's a few people that are here to speak on item U.
Oh, for the Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi.
I have no problem moving item U up. Is that all right with the rest of council?
Yes.
We have a break after that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, oh, if I can have a-
I mean.
Oh, he needs a break, yeah. I'll make you a deal. All right, item U, which we will be going back to item L after our short break. General discussion and possible action on municipal harbor Wi-Fi. All right, so Jim, would you like to take the floor and discuss your
Sure.
plan before the people are allowed to speak?
Basically, before Harvey, there was Wi-Fi there, with the people that lived boards there. There was a need for some kind of internet usage there. So that's kind of the request from multiple people.
Did we have it before, Dave?
We have had it before. Pretty unsuccessful.
Okay.
It's. We made an attempt, I think, around 2012 or 13 at one point. To cover the entire marina, so it has a lot of outside components. Because Wi-Fi is typically not a really strong signal, and you have to, what we had previously, and granted, the technology has probably changed. It's probably gotten better, but we would have, I think we had about 3 different little nodes that we had put up on poles, to get coverage at the different spots. It depends on what the people are wanting to do. Providing like, for example, Wi-Fi that 20 people in their boats are downstream in movies. Not happening.
I think what.
You're talking a massive Wi-Fi system if it's that kind of system. If it's simple stuff like I want to check emails, I want to get on the internet and
Maybe.
look at something, but if their interest is streaming, it's a total game changer. Very different.
I can tell you that we've tried to put Wi-Fi in at the Trout Street Marina. And it's in and out. I mean, it's really difficult to keep it going. I mean, get the right internet connections. I guess if we went with System 7, maybe. I have that.
So we have,
Goes out.
So we have we have a Wi-Fi node here at City Hall because we provide it for events, and then we have it at the library. The library does, it eats up a lot of staff time for Peggy, keeping it up and going.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's, the concern is, it's really what are people looking to get out of it? Because streaming Wi-Fi you're talking a lot of bandwidth.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure Robert's point. I'm not sure I don't know what the data line is out there. I'm not sure.
Not either.
I mean, if some of the people are here, I know, what are you guys looking to get out of it? Are you just like, hey, I'm interested in getting my emails, or because movie streaming is a bear? Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, please. Because I got a question for you too.
So, Sean Jackson, 301 JC Bar. We have a person that works for a state agency who works from home. Zoom is a big thing for her. We have students in college at Del Mar that do a lot of stuff. Streaming, me personally, we bought a Dish RV thing and I have 250 channels. I could care less about streaming. But when I do need to send emails or do something on my contractor portal or something, it's nice to have the data, especially with the busy weekends with our cell phone data. On busy weekends, it depends on who your provider is, if you have any signal at all or any service. And that's the main thing, as we're getting more people and the system's getting dragged down with cell phone data. I know Verizon is almost non-existent in certain spots. With my provider, I can be out on Royal Palms below that cell phone tower and not be able to make a phone call. That's the type of stuff that we're needing.
I will say, Sean, that the city is looking at, and I know the chamber is looking at too, because you're right. I mean, just the cell phone strength, particularly when it's crazy time, that, some options for us overall for the city to improve that, which may help in general, all over town. But just so you're aware, we are looking at some cell phone now.
Yeah. And we, at CMIS condos, we had an issue where we had System 7 and we weren't getting coverage on both sides of the building or out at the pool. And they came and they added extra repeaters on the dunes by Bells by the Sea. And then they put them out in between our fire lane and where Banyan Beach turns around. And we have coverage all over the property now. I also wouldn't be opposed, me personally, and the people I talk to, we wouldn't be opposed to paying a monthly fee, because I know 2 of them are buying their own little hotspots and spending $180 a month, and they're running out of their data before the month's over.
Go to the library. No.
So, yeah. But I mean, and I'm totally flexible. Like, if you wanted to charge us, I'll pay. No problem.
Okay, who is Camille? Camille, you want to come? I'm sorry, because she signed a card. So you want to come up and speak really quick?
Camille Yoltatsi, 301 JC Bar. I had a speech prepared, but it kind of seems pointless now, but I'm gonna go with it anyways. I'm in here to support the Wi-Fi at the marina. I moved to the Coastal Bend area in 2006 when I was 5 years old. Growing up here was a blessing, as is living at the marina. The boat community is a family that only wishes to see each other grow. As every little girl who wants a professional career in STEM, one plans for college. Starting university in 2019, I only had 1 semester before a global pandemic. And so now life has changed, life has caught back up, but in some cases it has not. This semester at Sam OCC, half of my credit hours are online only. Provided online, you have to attend Zoom, you have to turn in all your homework via laptop, Wi-Fi, all of that. So not being able to attend class or complete homework at home can be changed. However, in the Coastal Bend area, Aransas County Navigation District, Corpus Christi Marina, and even further up, Seabrook Marina, Marina Max, and nationally, marinas provide Wi-Fi. So there is, again, System 7, which was mentioned before, but that was also in the speech. But the implementation of internet access to liveaboards gives hope in the idea of us growing as individuals and reiterates that the idea that Port A is for the people. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, yes, you may come.
I just wanted to add one thing. I know Joella knows this. so-
Oh, yeah, dude. Well, we all need to know you too. I mean, Jill, I'll be the only one.
Jonathan Smith, 518. All I want to know is in the past, when y'all had the Wi-Fi, were y'all charging previously before or post party?
No, I don't think they
Okay.
were.
So I was just wondering that aspect of it, and if they weren't, if there was a charge, like he said, we don't mind paying that bill. But I do remember there was somebody on the dock before that came up to us saying that if you looked at the bill, the Wi-Fi was under there. It's still itemized.
Is it really? Let me, I can find out.
So that's why I just want to see if y'all can go back in your records.
Yeah.
Just to see if that actually was in there.
I haven't seen it with my own eyes, but.
I just wanted to see, because they said they had it for itemized, but okay,
We'll confirm that.
that's all I want.
You're open to being charged.
There you go.
And I'm probably next on the list on the card. That was my husband, so I just came up with them.
Oh,
Cynthia Adams.
you spoke earlier, but you
Well,
can speak
But
again.
no, I spoke on.
Oh, that's right. The pump. Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's right. Okay, sorry. Yes, go ahead, Cynthia.
So yes, that was the informational thing that I hope you.
Yes, thank you.
Can take,
Appreciate that.
wisely. So yes, I don't want to mention my state agency, but I do work from home from time to time. And I'm not here representing them at all, so but I choose to be a liveaboard and I love the lifestyle.
Mhm.
I know that, with everyone that mentioned, very few reasonable and affordable housing opportunities. This is, one of the ones that we've chosen as a husband and wife to pursue and stay here in this area. And yes, we bought two $250 Wi-Fi hotspots and we get 150 gigs a month. That is our primary thing of watching TV and stuff. But we have gone through that data many times, and I still have to do my Zoom calls and everything for work, which is not provided for. I have to provide it myself. I don't get internet through my work. So yes, I still want to be doing my job, but yes, and I have gone to the library when that has happened. But it would be very beneficial, I think, for the liveaboards to be able to have this opportunity to have Wi-Fi. So I'm for it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sean, did you talk to System 7?
About the possibility of the marina, yes.
I don't know if they got a clear, what do you know about it?
Not
There-
much. I mean, if you guys want, you could direct me to do some research on it and bring it back to you.
I'd like to do that. I'd like to
Yeah.
direct you to go ahead and do.
What?
So let me just take.
Yeah.
I've been luckily in my lifetime in several different marinas with Wi-Fi. They're always sketchy at best, but most of them will have what they call a captain's office that has high-speed internet. So if you're having problems on your boat, you can go in there.
Mhm.
And I think if we go that route with our new harbor master office, we should have an area for them that they can go in and do their work with high-speed internet.
Yeah, that'd be
But
cool too.
I mean, the boats are always it's gonna be sketchy.
We are gonna have the upstairs area that's, it's
Captain's
the,
lounge or something.
well, it's the, it's,
Meeting room.
it's gonna be the nice meeting room. And if there's not, the way we're gonna work it is that when there's not an event in it, it's open for people to use as the, as the lounge area, because it'll have, seating and stuff in it. It'll have a little coffee area and stuff like that. So we are putting, there will be internet access up there. So, but let me look into it and
Okay.
bring something back to you guys with some
Appreciate that. Thank
different
you all.
ideas.
Okay. Any other discussion on that item?
Okay, great.
Okay,
Thanks, everyone.
3-minute break, 3-minute break.
All right.
Our Wi-Fi is sketchy, and then we
And it's high speed, I mean, it's through the satellite.
That's.
Yeah.
But those could be up 200 miles offshore and have lightning fast, and it's cheap because you buy the you buy the one for those.
Oh, yeah.
Who we missed? Joe Ellen.
You can get our privileges taken away
That's
from
it.
us here.
He was talking. It's LT. Come on, I started it. Okay. All right, we're gonna move on to item L, ordinance first reading, amending the code of ordinances, chapter 12, licenses, businesses, regulations, article 8, short-term rentals, amending section 12-252 regulation, registration and permit by adding requirement to advertise number of legal off-street parking spaces and allowable available existing garage space to be counted in the advertising count, and providing for severance reading and effective dates.
So this is mostly going to be a discussion for you guys, but since Rick had to step out, he asked me to step in his place. Earlier this year, you guys know that the short-term rental committee met, brought you the regulations. You asked for those to come back, the ones that needed to come back in ordinance form, and that's what you have in the packet tonight.
And some of them
Or P and Z.
had, because they were in chapter 25, they have to go there first. So
Just one of them.
it was just one, right?
And
It
that,
was
and
just
it was just the additional parking spaces that went to P and Z today, so that their recommendation will come to you at the March meeting.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
March, yeah.
Okay.
So there's kind of not a whole lot in there.
There's not-
It's
Short-term rental,
it's the advertising.
It's just the advertising.
That's it, right? It's just that one,
Mhm.
That's the only thing that was required to be done by ordinance and not just by policy.
right?
I'm good with how it was written.
First reading. Any
First reading,
comments?
so-
Am I allowed to talk?
Yes.
Yes.
This is.
Yeah, but who are going?
We can.
So one of the challenges is people bring a lot more vehicles, boats, golf carts, trailers, and they don't have a way where to put it, and it can make a mess, both in a subdivision or on city streets. And so this idea was, and some management companies in their listing will say you have this many on site, but you don't want to say parking for two, plenty of room on the street.
No.
No, you can't
So-
never, yeah.
This was to say how many people can truly park. And that's the way you advertise, so that the visitor knows what house to rent. The idea being, if you're bringing there's parking for three, and you're bringing your car, your trailer, and a golf cart, you've basically used up 3 spaces. How you put that in the code, I don't know, other than they'll have to figure out that's what you got. So,
You have 3 spaces, that's it. If you have
Whatever.
more vehicles, you get a different house.
and a golf cart is a vehicle.
Right.
A boat,
Right.
a little bigger than a vehicle, but you gotta ask that
2,
question.
yeah.
So,
And right, as I understand it right now, they're not required at all to talk about how many spaces they do have. This would require them to also advertise for that.
Okay.
So right now, if they don't have a lot of parking, they can just leave that out of their advertisement and people can discover that when they get there. This way they would have to have that included.
Yeah, I think that's.
Basically, it's just to clarify, so there's no question,
Right,
what is off street park?
to help everything,
Yeah.
yes, get the right
Right.
house.
I rent a
neighbors.
lot of places when I go visit. I do a lot of VRBOs and it is very specific. And they will call you and tell you to move a vehicle or it's gonna get towed. That's what happened.
I mean, unfortunately, this doesn't change that it's legal to park on a street still, but if they're not advertising that,
Then,
hopefully
right.
people just won't assume that you can.
Right.
And this
Motion
is
to
the only
approve if
one
we
that's
can.
hitting
Yes.
SDRs.
This
I'll
is-
second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion, Dale?
Sorry, Dale.
Brandon, please call the roll.
Yes.
Yes,
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Krieger,
Yes.
Chairperson Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Park,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. First reading amending chapter 23, traffic and motor vehicles, article 8, golf carts and neighborhood electric vehicles, and article 9, stopping, standing, parking, and providing for severance reading and effective date.
So same thing with this one. This was just the golf cart committee. All the changes in here required by ordinance have been written in. Notably on the third page, the areas that chief and Rick worked with together to determine to expand that no parking area. And then further on, the allowance for the police officers to be able to impound those vehicles.
The one thing I noticed, I mean, I talked to Rick about it, is the under 3 on the golf carts. He forgot to put in there.
So I will admit that I was not involved at all in writing any portion of this.
I said that we did talk earlier about that. Because that is something we did motion to move forward. And he just forgot to put it in here. So
We motioned to move forward, or that was the recommendation coming out of the committee?
no, that we motioned last meeting to move it forward.
Approving all the items.
Oh, yeah,
No.
We didn't do that.
Took two
Last-
we
items
took
off.
2 items.
Last, yeah, but last meeting, rather than go through and discuss a lot, we just said, let's see what an ordinance looks like.
Right, and he did not do right. He forgot to write the
Okay.
ordinance for it. So.
I don't know that I'm for that 3 and under, just,
Oh, that's the one that was left out.
No,
have a lot of.
proof of liability insurance was taken off. Insuring individual owned cards, security.
Only
commercial
because
insurance.
you have a family, they get a golf cart, mom and baby have to go in a car, dad and other kids go to the beach, so now you have 2 vehicles on the road and if the police pull them over, they say, oh, my kid's 2 and they're really 4. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of controversy in that for me.
I agree. I think it's too hard. It's something that's too hard to monitor. I think it's just another I mean, it's one thing to drive by a cart and know that they're not wearing a seatbelt.
Right.
But I think it's going to be very hard for our police officers to drive by a cart and go 2, 4, 3. And I just think it creates.
I think that's more work for them.
It's more work, and I agree with you. It's putting more people in cars, and people aren't going to understand, and you're going to. Anyway, I think that you have to have personal responsibility
For your tiny babies.
for your tiny babies. God bless you. If you want
That's
to put
fine.
one in there, you do, but.
That's fine.
I'm good leaving it out.
Yeah.
So up at the top, this is for red striping.
Are you talking about on page 3?
Yeah, part of this ordinance.
We need to add like oleander on there and parts of station.
Can you-
I had a question. What do you guys think of this verbiage? Parking restricted, and it says, and it used to say when signs are erected, giving notice, right? So it means
That's actual.
it
sign.
had to be, you had to see it, right?
Mhm.
Now it says when appropriate and conspicuous notice. What is that? What is conspicuous notice? Does that mean if it's codified? Is it conspicuous notice?
I think.
I think
What is
right
conspicuous
above
mean?
that, it says conspicuous notice would include but not be limited to.
Where is
the
that?
red striping in the paragraph above.
Aha.
I think the plan is red stripe.
Yes.
But not.
Okay, good. All right, as long as it's defined, I'm fine. I was like, what is that?
Yeah, no, it's.
I just didn't want something to be codified and then that be, That qualify as-
Because I think the old one said you had to have signs and now this allowed for red striping.
right, okay, that's fine.
So what do we do if we decide on these streets?
Well,
We can ask questions.
What was your,
We get to ask questions on why certain streets would be
sure,
red stripe.
of course. That's what you're here for.
On
Which one?
Huh?
Which one?
14. I just want to understand.
Sand Key.
Sand Key. So. Lots of houses that are permanent and second homes are not short term on Sand Key. There was one house that caused a lot of problems because they advertised, they had parking for 2 vehicles, and they would advertise parking for 4, comes with a golf cart, bring the boat. And that was tough. So on Sand Key with permanent residents, is there a reason we're having problems with? Is it because of short-term rentals on that street? Or is it just because of the width of the street? If people are parked on two sides, we can't get the fire truck or the ambulance?
I know
That's
that-
my question.
So I can't answer for chief, but chief and the fire department came up with this list. Pretty much.
Because of STRs?
I don't know that. I can't answer for them. That
Because of the width of the street and trucks.
I don't.
I would imagine it would be a combination.
Yeah.
Do you know that?
It was a combination of both.
Okay.
I mean, did we target every street on 11th? I mean, is that every street?
I mean, I understand Sandy Lane. Sandy Lane's tough.
Ninth Street.
But
Right, Sandy Lane allows STRs, right?
everything does.
Everything.
How about Park Place?
Also.
No, that's on there too.
Yeah.
So it looks like,
Gander needs to be done.
It looks like it's almost everyone.
what about Oceanside?
They don't allow short-term rentals.
Oh, they don't allow.
Yeah.
So what about Island Retreat Road? Is that on there? Yeah, why isn't that on there?
Only the front portion is available and then the back portion. So only, so that last house is,
Right, so why wouldn't Island Retreat be on there?
it could be.
Yeah. we can ask.
Justin Shank.
There's not a lot of,
There's a lot of stuff.
there's only one side of the street that you could park on because of the driveways on the other side
How
of the
about
street.
Luana?
Luana also allows short-term rentals.
Does
That's,
does anyone know about Luana?
Basketball game.
Is Luana STR Street?
they are, yes.
Right, so you would think that one would be bad.
So is STR like 50% of the housing or 10% of the housing are STRs? Is there a number?
It's fluctuate.
Yeah, I don't think that we used, my knowledge that it wasn't like a formula that we used on the amount of housing to try to determine the street. I think they started looking at maybe some of these streets that are historically having congestion with the fire apparatus to make sure that we would be able to get our ambulance and fire trucks down there. And this was kind of the first wave of the stuff that we reviewed and looked at. Okay. I believe that they are scheduling a further review for later on, but I don't know how far in the process that's gone. I haven't been significantly involved in it.
Well, it's first reading, so we can approve this and then we can add for second reading if there's
Add
additional
street.
streets
Okay.
to add.
I'll go for that.
You could come back and amend it too, right?
Oh, yeah, you could always amend
If
it.
there's one we want to take off.
Yes. So,
We can always take it off.
And
or
just
add,
because the-
or whatever.
Just because the street's listed
Before
doesn't
we can-
necessarily mean it has to be red striped or completely red striped, just that you get the option.
Suggested that's, yeah.
Why was Sandcastle just La Playa to Gulf as opposed from 11th to La Playa? There's sidewalks there.
These are all good chief questions.
Yeah, these are.
LT,
Yes, ma'am.
are you making notes?
From where to where?
La Playa,
La Playa to Gulf.
it's on the curve.
Well, yeah, because I don't think that there's sidewalks past that stop sign.
There are.
Oh, which one?
On the hotel side,
On Sandcastle?
yeah.
No, not on the hotel side. That's the dirt side.
I think that's where like the sidewalk and stuff is.
Okay.
And so if you get street parking that goes along on that, because we deal with this on Sandfest, right?
Yeah.
You don't, you can't get, we do a lot of no parking in that area because you can't get the B bus through there. If you can't get the B bus through there, you're not gonna get a fire truck through there or anything.
Yeah.
And my guess is that probably wouldn't affect a lot of,
And then from La Playa to 11th Street,
I think there's,
all
I
of those,
think there's sidewalk
there are.
on that portion if my memory serves.
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
So you would not red stripe that.
Well, isn't there some already that have like parts of that street that in our ordinance book that allow that is?
Yeah, but they're very few. It's J.C. Bar Boulevard, Cotter, Avenue G.
11.
No, it's not
it
in
was
there.
not before.
11's not one of the ones that you can do curbside parking is prohibited.
Well, the question would be is that the center turn lane is solid yellow, right? So if you park in the travel lane and you're forcing everyone if you're forcing everyone, Chief told me that if you park like on Avenue G.
Right.
And you force everyone to go in and go into the single yellow line to cross or to get around them, that's a violation.
Right.
I don't know if that's true.
That's not what it's designed to use for. Correct. I
Should we
don't
list
think that we
11
have
street
big
on
of an
there?
issue when you're talking
Or you
about.
can-
Well, the question is that
Down
if
to-
we list 11, are we gonna write? I mean, good
gonna
God
register?
almighty, that's a long
There's
street.
sidewalk and there's driveway and there's.
I've
not-
never seen
It's
someone
gonna
park on.
Wait till they open that RV park and all the other houses. and they're-
I don't-
Never seen someone park on Cotter,
Walking.
Allister, or
Yeah.
G or 11, just blocking a lane.
Yeah, they
They
don't.
park on the sidewalks.
No.
Yeah, I think.
You're right.
They do.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, 8 and 9 can come out. It's already on there.
Avenue G is number
She's
3.
already listed.
So I think 8 and 9 are redundant.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just.
Okay, so okay, we need to make that modification. Or will y'all
we
just take it
taking?
out
We'll just
for
take it
second
out.
reading?
We'll just take
knowing
it out
that?
for second reading.
Taking 8 and 9 out.
They're redundant.
Because 3 just states Avenue G. This says Avenue G east
Mhm.
of, so you can take both 8 and 9.
Right.
Number 3, which is Avenue G. by
Nah.
itself.
So what do y'all
Okay.
think about locking
Oh, I
up
got you.
on 361?
Well, that needs to be modified. Page 198. It says for one of the following reasons, and then it's got A, B, and then the actual penalties is cart shall be parked, right? So.
Oh, yeah, this is the one, this is the booting of the cart.
Yeah, so it has to be modified, or you see where I'm talking about?
No, like I said, I apologize. I wasn't part of the writing of this, but
Yeah, it says A, it says if a golf cart legally licensed is stopped for one of the following reasons. It gives A, it gives B, and then the penalty.
Sure, I see what
is
you're saying.
Included in that part. It's
So
has
break
to be
that
pulled
into-
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to be pulled out.
And do you guys want to go forward with that one?
Heck, yes.
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 The taxi voucher, can you imagine?
LT, get up here for a second. Okay, you're gonna give us a personal opinion. on-
Yeah, because we get.
All right,
different-
Here's my question. What is so you have an officer that pulls a golf cart on the highway,
Right,
right?
yep.
And the clock starts, he pulls them over. Give us that timeline. Now give us the timeline of what happens in B. And as far as minutes,
How long that takes?
yeah, so how long does it take to get a ticket and be on your way? Where the golf cart goes on their way,
5 minutes.
right? You
Yeah,
make the
'cause we're-
stop,
Yeah, we're handwriting.
call in the driver's license, give them a ticket, leave.
Yep,
What's this gonna take?
let's see, I didn't read the whole.
So this is where you stop, he gets pulled over.
Cart should be parked and mobilized by the enforcing officer or passenger vehicle. For hire, voucher will be provided to the cart operator, any
That's-
passengers. Blah, blah, blah.
Half an hour.
Yeah, a long. But the point, I think, David, would be that, well, everyone, I think the point would be. Seeing a booted golf cart on 361 is going to reduce other people driving.
Then I think we should just have decoys.
Yeah, I was gonna say this.
There you go.
I love it.
Perfect.
I just worry that
You're
busy summer day
Yep.
where we need our cops moving around. And a cop standing there because
He has to wait.
well,
he's
and
waiting on a taxi. I mean, who are these people that are coming?
well, not only
It's
that,
the voucher dude.
we are liable for that, for anything that happens to that car. It's just like when we make an arrest in a car, we have to stay with that car and inventory it. And make sure that it gets to the proper tow company. We cannot leave it on the side of the road where
So
we
it could
stop
take
it.
longer than half an hour.
By ordinance, we have 15-minute response time for the wreckers, right? That was what we did. Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what we do with a car. I cannot imagine that our liability would be any less if we leave that vehicle where it is and take off and somebody does damage to it, somebody does something to it.
I don't think we want that liability
I-
here.
I'm not comfortable putting my guys in that position.
conceptually, I think it's a great idea to have some kind of immediate,
Penalty.
take away from it, but I don't know that is the answer. That is my personal opinion. I haven't spoken to chief about it.
Who came up with the wording on that?
I don't know.
I thought it was.
Rick and
Well, and I think they've attended, they attended those workshop meetings. I was tasked with some other stuff, so I haven't been included in all of the conversations. I'm just telling you operationally from that part, I've got some heartburn on it.
So the vouchers we don't have Uber, but we have, it's gonna be a taxi.
Any suggestions?
Well, and then, then is the police officer responsible for staying with that person and or persons until the taxi people come?
Yep.
It could be a family.
Right, on the side of the road.
I mean, that-
16-year-old girl, you're not gonna wanna leave them.
We can't.
Well, no, and I get that, right? 16-year-old, yeah. Yeah, I don't want to leave a mom and her kids and her,
We halfway create that situation, right? Whatever behavior attracts our attention,
right.
is obviously on the violator that causes the interaction. That's 100% on it. But from that point on, we are responsible for those people in that property, their safety and well-being. I can't just show up and say, you know what, you don't have a driver's license, you don't have insurance, I'm towing your car and you're gonna walk down
Here's your
361.
voucher.
You know what I mean? We have to do we have to have some kind of responsibility there to make sure that they're not gonna step off into traffic or they're not gonna do something.
Right, if it's a DUI, you bring them in, right? So,
Right.
and is there any other case?
If it's a 12-year-old.
What if they don't have insurance? You don't
If they-
impound the car, do you?
When we do impound a car for violations where we don't arrest the person, like if they don't have current insurance, their registration's out, all that kind of stuff, the car shouldn't be on the road, we can impound it. And what we normally do is we either take them to a business location like Stripes and say, hey, call somebody to come pick you up. Here's a safe location for you to be. You're in the public, you've got access to people, phones, whatever that can help look over you. And now you have a landmark where they can come pick them up instead of just saying, hey, I'm somewhere on the highway. The cop just left me here. So that's kind of what we do, or we take them somewhere to where we can get a family member to come get them or a responsible person to come get them. Or if it's somebody local, we do wait with them on the side of the road until somebody comes and gets them. It just depends on the situation, but I mean, it's not uncommon for us to give a ride down to Stripes or, a convenience store or something like that.
So the intent behind this was to immediately revoke individuals' ability to continue driving that golf cart. So
Right.
the penalty would be pretty high and there'd be no refund on the end of the golf cart renter, right? I mean, so
Right.
the rental
Correct,
company
right.
would not refund it. They're up money.
Right.
So it hits them in the pocket. Do you have a better way to
As far as-
accomplish that than this?
I just spitballing coming right off the top of my head. I mean, I think the golf cart ordinance allows for the police chief to seize license plates that are being used improperly, right? So if they register a golf cart that's not a golf cart, we can go and take it.
Ooh, that's maybe a good idea.
What if you
take the
have,
plate off of it.
well, that's kind of what I'm saying is if you have that violation, you can maybe seize that license plate and now they can't use that cart without a plate on it for whatever amount of time, a weekend, 3 days, 2 days,
You'd have to
whatever.
drive it to the rental.
Well, we'd have to figure something out and have some kind of cooperation with the rental companies. I know that historically they have kind of worked together on different deals about picking up carts where they may help each other out and do that kind of thing. I don't know if they would be opposed to forming some kind of coalition that would do something.
That's who came up with these ideals
Right.
was that coalition of golf cart companies. So
I mean, I think if you want to penalize not only the driver of the golf cart and the company that is renting that golf cart, seizing that license plate might be a good compromise to be in the middle.
It applies for residents too, by the way.
Sure.
Yeah. So
I mean, in that way, you now know that cart can't legally be put back on the road because they don't have a plate on it. And if they put a different plate on it, then you're gonna know something squirrely's going on, kind of.
But they can at least drive back to their hotel or where
Sure.
they're going.
Yeah, we can, yeah, I mean, that's what we do with them when we find them on the highway out in a weird spot. We follow them back in and make sure they get off where they need to get off on the highway and all of that kind of good stuff. So,
Y'all done a great job stepping up your enforcement and ticket writing for carts on the highway, and I think that's very effective, and obviously it's, it's good for the city. My other concern, when you tell me that it's gonna take 30 minutes to possibly go through this.
Yeah.
Is that your officers may not be so inclined to,
well,
do that.
I mean, yeah, I mean, absolutely. It is
because
gonna
they
be-
may say, oh God, I don't have time to do that,
Yeah.
40, that was,
let's drop the boot idea.
no, I mean, I love the idea, I'm just trying, I mean, we gotta think of.
License plate idea.
If we can do that, and it's, there's,
I mean, I guess we can send it back to,
Let us come up with a staff idea.
Okay.
I mean,
so I would like
that's
a
just off
second
the
reading.
top of my head.
So I would request that LT be involved in this one. I mean, because I mean.
Like I
nothing
said,
against Chief, I mean.
Now you're.
Yeah.
Golf cart group was comprised of owners of golf cart rental companies who are really trying to do the right thing. So they're not necessarily the people that need to be punished.
Right.
They're passing along that information and then.
Yeah, that
those
came from
people-
all of them.
Yeah.
Was the intent, yeah, that's why this was like, not been.
and like I said, I was not privy to those conversations. This is all just off the top of my head.
okay.
You can go watch it.
It's a
So
YouTube
the
video.
motion's gonna be to move to the second reading, modifying and or at least taking out item
Dale,
23B.
yeah.
Dale?
You rent what carts?
Yes,
Is there a deposit on the cart?
we take their credit card.
So what if they took a deposit?
That's a deposit.
And if the police called you, you lost the deposit? Oh,
Yes,
that
if a
just
cart comes
benefits
flat back with no plate, due to the fact that they got pulled on the highway,
You know they got a ticket. Or somebody. took
you
the
can
plate.
hit them up with a $100 fine.
Yeah, cause you say.
Because
got a
you gotta
black mark
go, you
against
gotta go
me.
now and get your license plate out of Hawk.
23,305.
Maybe that's what it is. They take their license plate and then the people have to come back and get it with their deposit.
And to prove this, Dave, that's stipulated.
Right.
Right, so. Basically, I motion to approve with the stipulation that city staff will work on the routing portion of this and change it to something more.
Okay, I second.
And
Are
delete
are we
items,
talking
yes.
about the map, the city having a map that's gonna go on the golf cart?
Yes.
That's, yeah, that's not a ordinance.
It's not a
Oh.
war.
Required.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Each golf cart, additionally, a map of the city. shall-
on there, we do not
It's on here to approve this ordinance that golf carts.
Well, we just have to have it ready by the third reading.
But the city's gonna provide the map.
Yeah.
I know.
And so they have to keep that on the cart. I read the ordinance here. So right now, we give the stickers that have to be visible to the driver. This says that they will be given a map by the city and they have to have that in the cart. They don't necessarily have glove boxes or different things in a cart, so I think that that needs to be stated if the sticker's gonna get bigger to where the map is part of the sticker, because if you're just giving them something that said they have to have it on the cart, how are they gonna do that? They'd have to tape it, they'd have to, you
It
know,
was supposed to be a
Yeah.
good
bigger
stick,
sticker.
Rack card size thing.
something laminated, something. The other question,
Scott had.
not laminated, but hard cardboard.
stuff, yeah.
The other thing is if they're not affixed to the cart, they're gonna be blowing out.
Yes.
And it's just trash.
And they're not gonna stay with that cart when it goes from
I
person to
thought,
person
I
to
thought the
person.
way it was originally intended was that it had to be given to them, but not.
The way it's written in the
Both the
ordinance
sticker
that I
and the
read
map
that says the
will be
map has to
provided.
be in the cart.
In the cart.
And I don't know how they're gonna do that if it's not something that will be affixed to the cart, because it's not gonna stay in the cart.
Yeah, how little would that have to be?
City staff will work on the booting board portion and work on the map.
Whatever the map is.
Okay, and I just say remove from keeping on. You know, let's just say that we work. My motion will be to remove the portion that the mat must be kept on the golf cart.
Okay. Is there a second to
I'll
his
Go ahead,
modified?
go ahead.
I'll second that modification.
Okay.
Two modifications.
Any other discussion? Fran, did you get that?
I did.
Okay, please call the roll.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Seeloff,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Owen,
Yes.
Councilmember Park,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes. Item N, ordinance, second reading amending the Port Aransas Code of Ordinances, Chapter 22, taxation, Article 9, hotel motel occupancy tax by amending Section 2273, hotel motel occupancy tax advisory committee membership terms, providing for severance and reading and effective date.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So this is a second reading for changes to the hotel motel occupancy tax advisory council committee. I probably said that wrong. Advisory, is it board or committee?
Occupancy Tax Advisory Committee.
Yes. So substantially, there are two changes, but three sentences were changed with the two substantials. Basically, we changed the alternates from 4 to 1 in two different spots. And in the very last sentence, in B, we also changed. That was a verbiage clarification. Essentially, what it's stating is if you are a hot board member, you will not submit an application to the hot board.
And then the last sentence wasn't needed.
Yeah.
That derived with the exception thing. That was for an existing board, so that sentence didn't need to be in there.
So simple changes.
Our motion to approve is amended.
Okay,
I'll second.
all right. There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Mayor Pro Tem Owen,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
No.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Seeloff,
Yes.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Park,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, item O, resolution awarding request for proposal RFP for the Paradise Pond Boardwalk extension to Mako Contracting LLC in the amount of $374,802.27. Funds from the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department Local Parks Grant and the City of Port Aransas Nature Preserve budget of 075-55210, authorizing future budget amendment for fiscal year 2022-2023 budget, and authorizing the city manager to act as the executive officer and authorized representative of the city in all matters pertaining to said bid award.
Who's babysitting?
Brian.
Yeah.
It's not
Went to-
babysitting when you're the, right there, parenting.
They went to pizzeria. She's in the bath. So this is the final portion of this project. We've purchased in July the land there that David's outlining behind Paradise Pond. And so project is to extend the boardwalk across, put a boardwalk or a sidewalk trail through the neighborhood and around to the community park. So pretty simple.
And we got the easement in place.
Yes, we have an easement.
Finally, everything's ready.
Yeah, pedestrian access, public access through the neighborhood. And yeah.
Is, so 90 calendar days is the estimated completion time? Is he
Yeah.
gonna start next week or?
We're
9
having
days?
a meeting March 9th.
Okay, good.
So, yeah, the grant expires September 30th. So,
Let's get it going.
and that was with our extension. So yeah, we're getting her done.
Good.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
So, yeah, it'll be really nice.
Very good. I'll make a motion to approve this RFP.
A second. All right, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Fran, please call them.
Yes.
Councilmember Seeloff,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Owen,
Yes.
Councilmember Park,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you, Ray. Resolution supporting the study, design, and construction of a second vehicular causeway to facilitate traffic to and from North Padre Island, Mustang Island, and the city of Port Aransas across the Laguna Madre to the mainland.
Okay, this is coming from, I think, originally out of the Metropolitan Planning Organization, which is the MPO. It's been in their master plan for many years. And the concept is having a road that connects with the crosstown. And I think it would come, I don't know the exact route, but it basically comes off the crosstown and down. And maybe it's a little bit further down, but it might be down in, it might be more like this. But it's basically the concept is a second causeway out to that, you know, that ties in with Park Road. Is it 22 down there? Yeah. So that's the concept. It's at the MPO. Todd Hunter is championing it at the legislation this go around. And so he is requesting all the cities to support it with a resolution. So that's what you have before you today is the resolution in support of that concept. It's no money on our part. It's simply
support.
Well, they need support from the surrounding communities
Yeah.
so that they can participate into the next step, which is funding the next phases of environmental and stuff like that. And Corpus obviously is in favor and the county's behind it. So.
And because there's a lot of surplus cash right now with the state, they think this is the time is ripe for making a move
to try to find
on getting some funding.
A motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right, so motion and a second. Any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Yes.
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Seagull,
Yes.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Item Q, the recording request for proposal RFP for a 1,500-gallon aluminum pump tank for the Public Works Department, funds from the Beach Fund, account 150, capital outlay account 66350, and authorizing the city manager to act as the executive officer and authorized representative of the city in all matters pertaining to said bid award.
We went for sealed bids for a new tank for our pump truck. And we received two. Pavelka is the lowest bid at $59,900. This is budgeted. We budgeted $60,000. So we have $100 to spare. It's going to take about 6 months probably to come in. So we need to get it ordered sooner rather than later and hope ours continues to work.
Well, we have a backup plan.
We have a backup plan.
Very good.
Dave, do we want to know what that back?
Because we can't really, rely on contractors coming out of Corpus, because when we're hot and heavy, they'll say, yeah, we can be there Tuesday. And we're like, no, we need so we're going to come up with a temporary holding facility.
There you have it.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Great. There's a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Councilmember Sillman,
Yes.
Councilmember Park,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers.
Yes.
Councilmember Seagull,
Yes.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes. Item R, resolution accepting the 2022 racial profiling report in compliance with Texas Occupations Code
LT.
1701-.164 and directing the police chief submit the annual report to the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement.
Do you need it?
I don't think so. I think the information in there is has been pretty consistent. We did find a typo. I think we transposed some numbers on there that we're gonna have to go back and change. What page was that on, Dale?
The beginning.
The first one here, right? Is what we were talking about, the 3641.
Yeah.
What page was it?
Page 3.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
page 5.
Page 5 of the, I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong page. number. Yeah, which one of the page numbers do you want?
The one with total stops at 4830 on top?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What was wrong on it?
No, what was it, Dale? I don't.
We had 3641 whites was their race and ethnicity, and then when we wanted to break down their gender, they they switched their
the two
their ethnicity.
Yeah.
Oh, I got it.
You see?
Yep.
So
The Hispanic Latino number.
yeah. I think that's the only thing that needs to be changed. These have been pretty consistent over the years. As far as the numbers go, we didn't see any kind of spikes or any kind of anomalies over this last reporting period. You don't have any questions about the report?
Is 52 alcohols, is that DWIs or just alcohol?
I
mean, in a year, we just had 52 alcohol issues. That's it.
No, I'm not sure how they break that one down. It's kind of weird. They don't always go with the because it's kind of a uniform reporting deal. They different jurisdictions classify different things differently, so they kind of try to lump everything into one, and it doesn't always fit. And I don't remember exactly off the top of my head what the definition that they go by for that one. And where was the number you were looking at on that 50 on the alcohol?
On 9R, page 247.
Drugs. Yeah, I'm not sure what the exact I think those are alcohol related offenses that are not DUI or DWI. They are outside of those parameters. But still involved it, like if you had a open container in the car, underage drinking while
Because one will leak alcohol at Fort Aransas. That's pretty.
Yeah. No, that's what that is. Anything that I can point out or try to answer on these?
A motion to approve with the one change.
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Sigal,
Yes.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Mayor Tim Owen,
Yes.
Councilmember Hart,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, item 7, adopting the 2023 legislative priorities for the 88th Texas Legislature, directing city manager to act in regards to the city's legislative priorities and providing for an effective date.
So this is our handout that we will take up to Austin. And when we're heading up there, I don't know who's all signed up or who all wants to go, but this is just something that when we go into representative or senator's offices, we have just a handout, and it's kind of like a meet and greet thing. And we try to keep it to one page front and back. And so mainly they're just bullet points, and you try to encapsulate your, what you oppose or support in one little line, because some people hand out 10 pagers and they just don't get read. So that's it's not the most handsome. We're going to work on making it a little bit cuter or nicer. It's kind
Cuter,
of boring.
a little more professional.
Cuter. I want to see you make it cute.
Well, geez. It's a little plain and ugly, but that's all right. We'll work on that. So
Yeah, but you need the colors.
a couple of things to point out. And I just handed them out to you. This was a humdinger we got today. 2665. This is the every house is a short-term rental bill, no matter what. Cities can't zone, cities can't determine time, you can't make them get extra trash cans, you can't do anything to them.
Do we have the date?
Oh, yeah, no occupancy limits.
Do we have the date when that's coming?
Oh, so it
When
got
it's gonna
filed
be.
yesterday. We do not know whether it'll get a Senate,
Pick up, yeah.
pickup.
Yeah.
It's pretty radical.
Because we need to go and speak against it.
Yeah.
I mean, we need to.
We just saw it this morning, so it just got filed yesterday. And
I knew they were waiting to throw that in.
so I'll give Deirdre a shout in the morning and find out what she knows about this bad boy. But that's one that we're definitely watching. And then the second one here is, this is the one that's you've probably seen in the news.
That's 434.
Yeah, 434. This is a Senate bill. And what this is, our buddy Mays Middleton, the new senator, used to be a representative. The issue with this one is the way it goes now, and let me zoom in on a section of beach up in kind of Bolivar, where this was an issue. This was his old stomping ground. So like when you're up in Bolivar and you're at like Crystal Beach. So what happened in Ike? The line of vegetation rolled back with the storm. And the way the current law at that time was, the land commissioner comes in and he reestablishes the line of vegetation. And then the homeowners that let's say, if you go back in time, for example, let's just go back to old 2009. Oh, there it is. So there's post Ike, very bad, a lot of horrible damage. And you see there really is no line of vegetation. And all the homes that were in this front row basically ended up behind the line of vegetation. So now you have homeowners that were in a position where the land commissioner came in and moved the line of vegetation on the backside of them. And the owners had to fight in court to reestablish if the line might someday reestablish in front of them towards the beach. So what he's done in 434 is he has flipped the roles. So instead of the land commissioner saying, hey, the LOV is here, and the owners having to go to courts to prove otherwise, he has said, the land commissioner doesn't get to establish where the LOV is, and it's up to anyone who wants to challenge it has to go to court and reestablish that line. So it's flipping the who gets to do it, it gets the burden of proof. The land commissioner just doesn't get to come in and reestablish the LOV. So it's very it went from pro open beach to more pro landowner, which he is. He's a pro property rights guy. So that's what that split is there. So a lot of people, pounding on that one. But getting back to the agenda item in general, if you guys want to add or subtract or whatever, what's your preference? I kind of just it's a handful of supports and a little bit more opposition. And most of this stuff is preemptive. It's a lot of we don't know if there's a bill for a particular item because they can be submitted up until March 10th. So a lot of these are just preemptive. It's, for example, number one, support legislation that promotes local decision making. That's just kind of a broad statement. And if there's any bill that we go after it. So these are very general. They're mostly preemptive, either opposing or supporting. And then the bottom half is just endorsements. It's our partners who we want to put in a good word for. The school, UTMSI. A lot of times the water district doesn't have much, but support for TxDOT 361 money, Berry money. So we always throw those guys in, throw our partners in too. So if you guys want to add or subtract, we got a little bit of time. When are we heading up? It's the
April was 12th. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So if you guys wanted to add or subtract.
I would just suggest like the first one gets pushed down to the bottom, Dave, because, let bigger cities handle that maybe. focus on the stuff that really impacts us, like the Open Beaches Act. Those are the things. Personally, I'll send you an email, just my suggestion, but I hope that makes sense. I mean, things like legislation promotes decision making. Yeah, I mean, I don't think us saying anything about that's gonna have an impact personally. But the windstorm rates, open beaches act, short-term rentals, those are things that are really near and dear to Port Aransas. I understand the reason, but
In the port.
yeah,
In the port.
So just kind of reprioritize them in order of,
what hits us more?
Yeah.
Because Austin's not gonna have a damn thing about the Open Beaches Act.
No.
Nor would Dallas.
anyone else? And I'm gonna rework it, we're gonna get, if you got any ideas of how to make it, dress it up a little bit,
Right.
make it a little bit more professional looking.
It's cute.
It's a little homely. Okay,
Darla can cute it up, right?
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
I think it's clean looking, which is nice.
We need to adopt it, though.
There's clean. Okay.
A motion to adopt.
I'll second.
All right, any further discussion? Brandon, please call the roll.
Yes.
Councilmember Seabox,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Mayor Tim Owen,
Yes.
Councilmember Hart,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, item T, presentation and general discussion from Broadus and Associates on Hurricane Harvey recovery. Hello.
Evening.
Thank you for hanging out so long.
Hope everybody's doing well. Hey, I'll keep this as brief as possible, as brief as you'd like. to keep
Oh,
it.
no, we want to hear all about
Yeah.
it.
All right.
This is good.
Harbor Master Building, we poured the foundation on the 16th of February. They're racking out the forms, so everything's moving along. Pavilion, as you can see, the columns have all been stripped down. They're getting ready to be reaccomplished, and also the wood paneling that was underneath as the ceiling served as the ceiling, those are coming out also. So everything's moving along with it. Nature Preserve Phase 2, I may possibly have some bad news on it. We may not meet having the construction ready this year. We have the plans ready. FEMA's 60 to 90 days out on reusing the biological assessment from last year. Then we're going to look at it for another 30 days. We've got everything in our hands, the amendment part to work, and we'll see if we can't make it happen. Maybe if we can get through it in May. I talked to.
Well, here's what Leo means by this year. Because any work out there has a 6-month closure period when the grants are in.
Right.
So we're very limited. So if we do not hit that window, we push. And this biological assessment waiting on FEMA's approval is being problematic.
That's 60 to 90 days. And then by the time we get that, the Corps won't issue the permit for another 30 days after that. And that's the best case scenario. So most likely.
It pushes
we'll
us
get
right
it-
up against that window, that no build window.
So most likely we're gonna be 2024 getting Salt Island completed.
So you get it all ready, you get it to 100% and ready to bid, and then you just freshen it up in March and then you bid it.
Yep, I'll bid it right after the first of the year. That way.
Yeah,
we're ready to
yeah, you
go.
could even do it
That
early.
way it gives us time to go through the contracts, get everything right. And also gives the contractor time to get materials in. Because the material shortages on everything.
Well, that'll make a difference in how they bid it too, if they know they're not going to start it for a while.
Right, so I talked to Ray. Ray was here and we let her know that. But like I said, we're not out of the ballpark just yet, but it's not looking good, just to be honest. Public safety building, the arbitration got pushed back 1 month on it, so we're 8th and 9th of March now with it. Of course, we'll win that. I feel certain, because basically square footage, we're in agreement. However, the cost that they're wanting to give us is RS means through FEMA, and that's always low. So
What
we
do
have
they-
all the bids coming in around here that we're using, Harbor Master Building. We have the bids that came in from Rockport, the City Hall over there, the county courthouse. So we've got plenty of justification for the numbers.
Do they offer any concessions?
Well, their concession was when we gave them the extra month.
That was it.
That they were
Right.
gonna buy into some of our additional ADA square footage.
So we'll find out then, right, if they bought into that.
Yep.
Okay.
We should find out before we go.
That's what I was wondering if-
The biggest favor you're helping for is that the 3 judges think that you did a good thing and they're now in our
That's
corner.
okay. But you might find out before you even go if that's.
Well, and I'm pretty sure the square footage is gonna be
Good.
a wash, but
Good.
we'll be good there. Fire station looks like arbitration is gonna be the first week in May. So, and that just came out this past week. Gas, high pressure system, it's been up and running. We're running some punch list items on it now, and it'll be completed, so that way we can close out the project.
So now, with that issue with Cinnamon Shore where they didn't do the dip in the line.
Which that's part of this that we're trying to get corrected in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Matter of fact, they went out and they shot elevations on it to see how much it's got to be moved and what's going to be entailed with it. So that's part of that punch list item. Gas distribution, of course, we got material backlogs, the risers are on back order, meters are on back order, regulators are on back order. However, we're still pressing forward. We're putting 2-inch main in. The guys, I know y'all have been getting some complaints from your constituents about, hey, when are you going to fix our yard? When are you going to take care of my landscape? So Monday, the holiday, they worked nothing but landscape. Yesterday, they worked nothing but landscape trying to get caught up. Matter of fact, we had a progress meeting today. They should start trickling in some additional materials and stuff probably end of March. So that way we can be moving forward with that. Of course, we have had some issues there, with conflicts and things, but and just be honest with you, hey, it's going to get a lot tighter. Summertime's coming, tourists is coming, and they're moving closer into town, and it's going to be a lot tighter then.
They're still just an olive orange, right?
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah. Sunflower, palmetto. I mean, yeah, they're up there and there. But main thing is keeping up with the landscape too. Also, cleaning up behind them. Piers, Roberts Point Pier opened up the 9th of February, so it's rolling. Charlie's Pasture Pier, we've got a little hitch with it. We had a possible collision out there. We have structural engineer and a survey. And we have some divers that are going out, do some inspections, and then we'll know for sure what happened, and then we'll attack that. But that should be happening here in the next couple of weeks. Any questions I can answer? Y'all have my number. Y'all know anything comes up, give me a call. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, item U, we've already covered. So item V, update and general discussion on the citywide red striping program. Oh, do we have an update, or is that what you were asking for?
That was what I was asking for, because somebody had said that some of the people hadn't.
Yeah, he's working his way south.
Yeah.
So he's making really good progress. And we are seeing a lot of compliance.
Because I know we were trying to get before summer, but
Yeah, he's making progress. If you guys have any that are standing out, just send me some names of businesses, and I can get them on his list and make sure we're hitting everything.
okay.
But he's hitting all of them. Here's why it's kind of hard to retrieve data. When the fire marshal does an inspection, he's looking at 20 different things. Fire extinguishers, exits over doors, and he does it. And so he's doing a checklist on paper, and he's not entering into a spreadsheet. So what we get is a piece of paper, and it's hard for us to compile data. So one thing I think we're going to look at this summer is a way for the fire marshal to go electronic and do his inspections on an iPad. And what's our new software program? Yeah. Then he can enter all that data in electronically, and you guys could ask us and we could go and pull a report up and
That'd be great.
get you better information.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Right now, we're paper, and it's what? In part, yeah. But if you guys have businesses and you got questions out there, just send them to Rick or myself, and we can nudge them along to Nathan and make sure he's
hitting them
How
all up.
how often does he come over here?
How often do we see Nathan?
How does he come over here?
It's not always Nathan, he's got somebody that.
Yeah, he does have help too.
We have the other guy at.
But I would say.
Did you have?
They
I got
came
you.
on the tank last week. It's I mean, hey, they gave
Yeah.
the whole inspection, everything. Yeah, and it's not, it wasn't Nathan, it was the other guy.
Yeah, they're here,
Yeah.
yeah, at least.
Okay, I was just wondering.
Yeah,
I just didn't even think about it.
yeah, it's either Nathan, what's the other guy's name? It's,
Now that.
I know.
I can't tell you.
I've never
He
seen
was the guy that
other
came to the
Yeah.
salon a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Okay, any other discussion on that?
Nope.
All right, item W, general discussion and possible action on operating a private business and business advertisement at the Dennis Dryer Municipal Harbor.
Oh, I just knew summertime was coming back up.
Yeah.
And you think the signs are working there?
I mean, well,
I mean, do
they
we,
haven't been operating there, but when we did put them up, they were compliant. I mean, we got pretty decent. Of course, they didn't like them, but
no, but we had like another jet ski guy and another,
yeah, they say they're coming back, but I mean, we think the signs are, our best. We got all the signage put up and down the docks and it's just a matter of us watching it.
are they didn't the ramps need some work on them or?
Yes, ramps have work.
We're gonna get that?
It depends. It's just gonna be really hard to find
Yeah.
them. We're either, we're getting it all designed. It's all in design right now, and it's just gonna be how quick we can bid them and get them out.
So are the lifts, are y'all renting them by the month or are you gonna rent them by the day now?
They're all monthly.
They're all monthly.
Yes.
Somebody told me y'all were renting them by the day and I said, I don't think so.
No, unless, I don't know. Let me ask Rob on that.
Yeah,
If there's one that's not rented, if there's a slip that's not rented, you can do a daily on it, can't you?
I didn't know.
Like if there's a 40-foot slip that's not rented, can you do a daily on it?
Like on a lift? On the boat lifts?
No, I think,
The new ones?
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I'd have to ask if we have a daily, rental on that.
If any of the new lifts are transient or they're short term. Because obviously you can do that in the other parts of the marina, but not.
Can that be almost kind of a nightmare? The worst thing about lifts is
I know you can't,
it's
on a
operator error.
transient dock that's been done by a grant, you can't do a monthly on it. It has
Right.
to stay transient.
Right.
For short term.
But I don't know about flipping the other direction.
Mhm.
I
We don't
would
have
think
a
you
rate.
can do what you want if a slip wasn't rented, but the lifts, I would think, and there's such operator error
Yeah.
in running those things that
We don't have a rate.
might not be worth it.
I'll find out.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, any other discussion? Item X, discuss and take action on the general land office's proposed amendments to the Natural Resources Code concerning dune permitting and city comments. Would you like to speak right now, since this is the item you wish to speak on?
Is anybody gonna give any kind of little explanation of what they're talking about?
Oh, yeah, I
Yes,
could
yes,
give a
absolutely.
lead.
Sure.
Good.
Joellen, the answer was no, they're not being rented daily.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know where they got that.
Okay, so, General Land Office Coastal Management Plan amendments. I'm not sure the last time they did an amendment, maybe, I don't know, 8 years or so ago. This one is very unique. What they're doing in this round of amendments, there's 3 items where, like, for example, and I'll give you one example. In the city's coastal management plan, when someone comes in and puts in an application for a dune walkover width, that is something that goes to the Planning and Zoning Commission. They're a recommending body. Goes to the General Land Office. They're a recommending body. It all comes to you guys, and you guys make the final decision. What they're proposing in this new round of amendments is that the General Land Office is the approving authority for a dune walkover width. So this is the first time we've ever seen them make a grab in the coastal management plan where they are the authoritative body with the authority to make a final decision. And I'm telling you right now, we don't want to give them 1 inch. Not 1 inch. And this is, we don't know what they're up to, but we got all the cities are weighing in on this and fighting it. And in 1994, the coastal management plan, this all came down from the feds to the states. And they wanted the cities to have the local authority to make up their own decision making and make up their own processes and be self-governed. And that was the process that's been in place for almost 30 years. And we should fight. My request is that we fight tooth and nail to keep that authority at the council level and not bow down to the general land office and making a run at taking our authority away from us, away from our citizens and away from our elected officials.
Is it my turn?
No.
No, just a second.
There were
Yeah,
three.
just a second. Yeah. Yeah.
That's one of the major ones. Line of vegetation determined. That's another one. Same issue. It's where the general land office wants a pre-establishment of the LOV that they get approval on. So that's item number 2. And the third issue. The third issue is not so much a taking, it's beach accessibility. We feel that our beach meets ADA compliancy because you can drive to the lower beach on many sections. They're wanting to make a run at putting down Moby mat on different sections of the beach, like for our bollard area, we would have to put like 4 or 5 200, 300 foot runs of Moby mat down on the beach, from where an ADA parking stall is, and I'll pull it up on the beach, but I'll pull it up here. So basically what they want us to do is Moby mat's that thick plasticky hard surface stuff. You can kind of roll it up. But what they're requesting is that, for example, let's say it's Sandcastle. So we have ADA parking in 2 spaces at Sandcastle. We have ADA parking kind of on the north end and ADA parking on the south end. So what they want us to do is run Moby mat down to the lower hard beach. And then I guess we would unroll it in the morning and then we would have to roll it up in the evening.
Because you couldn't leave it there.
I mean, you can't leave it out there. So that's another big third, the third issue. But the way we've addressed, so their comments are, it's a pretty large document. And we kind of highlighted the changes as least concern, a moderate concern, and a most concern to the city. These comments are due
26th.
Tuesday, the 28th, correct? 5 p.m. We've met with the new general land office commissioner. We explained to her our concerns. We had a meeting. There was it was a meet and greet. She was just she came down to the area probably 3 weeks ago, and she said, hey, it was just sat us in a circle and said, hey, what are your concerns? So I raised my hand and said, here's our concern. You guys are in the midst of new amendments and you're making a run at our authority. And she said, all right, we're going to look into it. So we have Todd Hunter working for us. So there's a lot of entities that aren't too happy with this grab that is being proposed by the general land office.
So your proposal is that we send this letter
Yes,
that you prepared as addressed?
yes.
Okay.
Well, as a member of the general public, I am in agreement with this. We are not experts on dune protection. Some of our actions here in Port Aransas have not protected our dunes. We don't want to end up like Crystal Beach. And I think that if the general land offices are willing to give us guidance, we need to take it. We are not experts. None of us have any kind of training in dunes, in marine geology. And
Just for the record, my degree is in coastal geology, sedimentation.
well, that's great.
Thank you.
But our city has not been protecting our dunes.
We have the largest dunes in the state, so I would disagree with you.
That's because it's coming in.
Because our maintenance.
Okay, Luke, I'm gonna give you a minute to continue
Right,
what
well,
you
he's
say.
arguing.
I know, we don't need that on either side, so please.
Okay, so people are concerned. The dunes are our protection. We've been through this before because with clearing sand on the moving sand around and stuff. And I think that we shouldn't just automatically say it's a grab. It's a protection. The GLO is in charge of protecting our coastline. And if they think that things aren't going right, and it's obvious, 1994, that's a long time ago. And our coastal zone management plan is old also. And I don't think we should automatically say, no, don't do it, because we need dune protection. You've seen what happened in Hurricane Harvey, and we're just lucky that it came from a different direction. It slammed us bad, but it would have slammed us worse if it was a little further south. And so I think that we need to, like, sometimes say somebody knows more than us. And the GLO is protecting all of the beaches in all of Texas for all of the people. Thank you.
And if you'll notice what they're grabbing at has very little to do with dune protection. I mean, dune width walkover isn't dune protection. That's minimization. So I would argue that their grab is suspect. I think it's very limited, very targeted at Port Aransas in general. And we've heard time and time again, Land Commissioner Jerry Patterson state that the city of Port Aransas was the model city for dune protection in the state of Texas. And we live by that, and we'll put our dunes up against anybody's.
I will say that Land Commissioner Buckingham is very approachable, and I think that she certainly wants to listen to all of her constituents. But she did admit that the beach was one thing she did not know a lot about. Now, obviously, the GLO has a lot more things than just the beach to be concerned about. So, I will agree with Dave, in this regard, that we need to retain, as much control as we can, because we do have experience of our own property and of our own dunes for many, many, many years. And so, not that the GLO doesn't have great advice, or there's things that we can't follow, which we always do, go to them back and forth, right? But we just need to be careful that some of the proposals aren't from somebody who maybe doesn't have the experience. And I haven't read through the entire document, so I can't speak to every item in here, but we do have to respond and, in the timeline, so that they know that we at least have concerns.
So we take action on accepting this or not accepting this? Is that right?
Yeah, you would vote to send the proposed comments into the GLO.
For the public to see those proposed comments,
Yes, they will.
and where's that?
GLO will post all comments on their webpage. They'll,
No, will that- will the
It's
public-
already in there.
the city's comments to the GLO are in this packet on that,
On the website right
on the
now.
website. Yeah.
On the dune walkover with David, just a question. They're wanting it to be 14, they're wanting to put 14-foot wide. We don't require that. So their proposal is to make it 14. feet
no, they're
wide
looking at, they're looking at
To narrow.
to bring them down.
8 footers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which means you couldn't do
You had to
both way
build-
traffic.
You have to build two
Right.
dune walkovers at
So
one
based
fixture.
on
They
this-
accomplish the
based
same,
on
yeah.
what these guys might do, are we gonna get a lot more of?
All you're doing is you're forcing a guy, instead of building a 14 footer, he's gonna just come to it for 2 8 footers.
And they're gonna come now, meaning we're gonna put more, we could possibly put more walkovers. People who think about doing a walkover would be better off doing it now than they would if the GLO takes care of it.
Possibly.
Then they just started as walkovers and then we got golf carts and then they're crossovers. They were, how big were they the first time with just the single golf cart and then there were double golf carts?
I think
And
the
we're
first one
14
was
feet.
probably a 8 footer. For one way. I mean, you guys could set a limitation if you wanted.
Do what?
You guys could set a limitation if you wanted. I mean, you guys could just say, hey, nothing more than, we don't want to see anything greater than 12, and you can have 2 bump outs for passing. You guys could set all that. The point is that
Local control.
local control, not conceding to the general land office to tell us what a dune walkover should be.
Right.
That's just one aspect. I don't really care which aspect of our coastal management plan is. I advocate that you guys stay in 100% control of it. Like it's been for 30 years. And I would say that, and I would also advocate, and I know I'm really good, that those people running the dune permit program in Austin, they don't know not a whole lot about the beach and the dunes and how things work, because they're not down here. They're sitting up in Austin. They're not beach folk.
Definitely not experts.
And our coastal management plan and dune stuff is, they adopted that as their natural resource, correct?
It was submitted to the general land office in the state of Texas and adopted into the natural resource code by law.
And no other cities,
No, every city did it.
okay,
Every coastal town.
okay. Are they pretty much uniform?
Oh, yeah, I think I would advocate that every coastal town's gonna be fighting to keep their own permits.
Okay.
And to keep the authority local.
And our dunes are bigger and stronger than other, possibly?
I-
That's probably the best in the state.
Oh, yeah, hands down.
We've had less hurricanes straight.
So
on.
letting the GLO
Because
take
after Alan,
control
we had
and
none.
split the difference
Right.
No, I'm just saying, if they did and they split the difference
Split the difference between what?
We sit there.
between low dunes and good dunes like we have and say, all you need is this. They should be encouraging everybody to come up to our standards. Would that be good for Texas?
Sure it would.
Okay.
For the places that have dunes.
Yeah.
There are a lot of beaches that don't even have dunes. That's true.
Well, I think we sit in the right spot.
Yeah.
And haven't had the number in hurricane wave.
Okay. Okay,
Keep up the good work.
so. All right, any further discussion? Is there an action item?
Trying to think how. So I want to keep it in our hands.
Yeah, so just
I want
motion to
second
approve the
approve.
comments to the general land office.
Okay, I want to make a motion to approve. Yes. The comments, yeah. As per Dave's letter.
Okay, there is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Brian, please call the roll.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Seelock,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Mayor Tim Owen,
Yes.
Councilmember Park,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right. Item Y. Resolution awarding request for proposal of municipal airport fuel tank repair RFP 2023-03 to Basco Services, Inc. in the amount of $80,139.73. Funds from the airport account 125, authorizing future budget amendment for fiscal year 2022-2023 budget, and authorizing city manager to act as executive officer and authorized representative of the city in all matters pertaining to said bid award.
Thank you. So we put out an RFP for repair to our municipal airport fuel tank. Some of the services include patching a hole on the external portion to it, sandblast and primering, 2-port epoxy, cleaning services, new canopy, hose reel, and a couple other parts being fixed and replaced and worked on. We had one bid come back from Basco Services at $80,139.73 and a length of time to complete the project 20 days. We are recommending to move forward with Basco.
How much is a new tank?
A new tank?
Yeah.
I don't know what a new tank would be. I know when we did this prep work last time, it was 70,000.
So I'm wondering. I mean, that's,
No, I mean, when we just sandblasted in.
yeah, well, my fuel tanks are half of that,
How big are they?
6,000 gallons.
How big is ours? 10?
I think. Let me see, I got somewhere in the bid. I've got a diameter. Tank's 120 inches in diameter, 17 feet 9 inches long. Sorry, I'm not familiar with the exact gallons. Some calculations.
No, I would take a look for a new tank too. Yeah, I think before we do this, I'd suggest.
How old's our tank?
Hmm, 2011 or 12.
So we don't have any kind of a bid on a new tank then.
No, we only put out for bid for repair to the existing.
What'd you say?
We budgeted
8,000?
so it doesn't need a budget.
Correct.
I think we should see how much a new tank is. So we can just see. I mean, that'd be my opinion.
Yeah, we can look at it.
Prices on tanks.
Yep.
Replacement.
Since we're going $72,000 over budget, right?
Correct. Yeah, I know we.
I get mine from my fuel supply and they always help pay for it. So,
okay.
Okay, so we're tabling the item to
we'll
further
table it, yeah.
research. Okay. All right, item Z, awarding request for proposal for the purchase of a PowerHeart G5 AEDs for the EMS department. Funds from the CARES Act grant account 997 and capital outlay account 61310, and authorizing city manager to act as an executive officer and authorize representative of the city in all matters pertaining to said bid award.
We went out for sealed bids for, I believe we're getting 50 AEDs for various departments. We received 4 bids. We are actually recommending the third lowest bid to be awarded because of availability. The other 2 companies who are less expensive do not have 50 to be shipped immediately. They are around, let me see, the cheapest, Zoll was out, would not be able to ship till July or August at the earliest, and we really do need these. Mainly all of ours are outdated. The beach needs them, and you have them here by spring break. We recommend going with Sterlington Medical Cardiac Science for $74,949. These are being paid by grant funds, and we think we could justify to the granting agency due to availability to go with the third lowest bid of $74,949
On time, based on time.
Based on time and delivery.
I'd want the cheapest one anyway.
It is a different brand. The Zoll is did bid a different brand than we spec'd out, which was the G5. I don't know much about AEDs, but
You happen to have some knowledge on that? Well, come on up and tell us. I mean, you've sat here all night.
I know.
No, they all have the Elliott Tabor EMS. They all have the right certifications that you need. Just this one is a lot nicer. So my recommendation would be to go with what Darla was saying and get the little bit more expensive one when you can get on time and it being a little bit nicer.
Is 50 enough?
50 is enough, I think. Plus you got EMS guys that have really good equipment too. Yeah.
Do the old fashioned
for sure.
way?
Yes.
Good. It's coming from the CARES Act, Darla, right? How much, just approximately, do we still have left of all that money?
800,000.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
get a couple more.
800,000. The next thing we're gonna bring for you from them is
Ambulance?
well, possibly an ambulance, but power.
Cares, lifters.
Power load
Yeah,
stretchers.
you just hit a button and it lowers.
Yeah.
Raises.
Dude, I thought we got those already.
Yeah.
No,
Save the back.
no, we, the new ambulance, I think, will be outfitted
Yeah,
with
it-
one,
it-
but
it-
we're gonna need 2
I
more.
was here, so it wasn't that long ago. Well, you know,
almost a year.
I'm with you. We didn't get those power lifters, any of those?
No.
Maybe we appropriated them in the budget, and that's what I'm thinking.
Maybe appropriated in the budget, the new ambulance, we
remember
ordered
discussion.
has one, but each stretcher is about 120. No,
Okay.
yeah, just.
So we can
stretcher
maybe
alone.
use some of that for that.
Yes, we can.
Okay,
That is the
excellent.
plan.
I think for all 3 it was 250.
So maybe next month. Save your back.
Yeah, April is when the new ambulance comes.
That'll be good.
It has one.
Yes.
Okay,
A motion to approve?
all right. There's a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Yes.
Yes.
Councilmember Park,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Seagull,
Yes.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes. All right, Lawrence. Or no, city manager first. Sorry, Dave.
All right, what do we got? We got. All right, we've kind of have done the ledge. Earlier, unless you guys wanted to go revisit it. Anything on the ledge?
I thought you covered it pretty well.
Yeah. We had a question on the city's app or the city's
Communication and. possible
communication
city
thing.
act.
So we're looking into that. What we've discovered after talking to several people like the chamber, you know, figuring out how successful apps are at getting out information. For example, the chamber has 1.2 million unique hits a year on their web page. So that's unique, meaning not the same people over and over again. Their app, only 20,000. So in talking with people that do apps, they say that is not the way to push out messages. It is probably the worst way to push out messages. There's just not many people. A lot of people that sign up don't like to be pinged for notifications. So they pass on the notifications, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to come up with a system to successfully get out information, and the app is not a great, from what we're hearing is the app is okay at best, not a very good method. Some other things we're looking at is a better, more robust, what's the system that Rick uses?
I don't know.
It's the reverse.
It's similar to the Corpus Christi reverse alert system. It's a really cumbersome sign up process and.
Yeah, ours is very cumbersome. People don't like doing it. There is a better system,
There's lots of better systems.
lots of better systems, but it still requires a sign up.
It would, yeah.
Yeah.
And then that would.
Still
just
requires a sign.
Notify you of city alerts, more emergency type alerts.
You could do anything. You could say, hey, garbage in section 1, trucks are all broke down, please push out your garbage tomorrow. I mean, you could do, it could be stuff like that. Doesn't have to be emergency, does it?
So,
No.
so like on one of those programs, when you register a number, will it be address identified? So like if you register a number for and you put your house address in and you want to only cover that neighborhood, is it like geographically or just based on the phone number?
I think it's just based on.
My guess is they probably have systems like this that could map it out like that via city.
Okay. Because like you said, why send something out to the whole city if it's only affecting, part of it, like on trash or something? Just a thought.
Okay, so next month you'll come back with some possible recommendations or some more additional findings or what? would you like?
It depends on, do you guys want to do a budget amendment, or are you looking to just approve something this summer? How quick are you looking?
I mean, my thought was that, I think we need some kind of proposals, some kind of ideas so that when we get to budget meetings this summer, we have some options to look at implementing between, for next year. But I do think we need better form of communication. I don't know what that is.
Well, the
Sounds like-
ultimate way is you tell someone that has Facebook, hey, put this on your Facebook post. Well, no, that's not us doing it, but if you want the best way to do it, that's the best way to do it.
Facebook's, not here forever.
Have a burner account.
Burner account. Okay. All right, let's keep researching that so that.
All right.
Thank you, Dave.
Yes. Okay.
I'll chisel it in stone.
Yeah, just let's. All right, staff reports, Darla.
So I'm handing you financials right now as I'm going over them. But apologies, they were not in the packets.
March.
No, he's down there.
Thank you.
I guess should be the same.
Okay, good.
They went over to the library and made some copies.
Thank you.
Okay. These are added to the packet. I know you haven't had time to review them, so I won't ask if you have any questions, but to report on the economic indicators. For the first 4 months of the fiscal year, we're pretty much relatively flat on all of our economic indicators. Our hotel motel tax for the first 4 months of the year is up just a little over 1% compared to the prior year. Sales tax is trending at about the same of 1.4%. Harbor is also relatively flat for the quarterly rentals of 0.74% up for the year. So everything is just a little up over between 0.74% and 1.4%. So I'd say that's relatively flat. Other than that, You have any questions about what's going on in finance right now? If once you review these financials too, if anybody has any particular questions, please feel free to reach out to me since you didn't have any time to review.
Your staff working out? Everybody good?
Well, I have my chief accountant out as of yesterday for a month.
That's not otherwise. Uh-oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Otherwise, we're all doing good. I was out for a week. That's why you didn't get these, but I'm back.
You're better.
I'm better.
That's good.
These are the final packet that's online.
Yes, and we're gonna,
Thank you.
we can add these in the ARR, right? Mhm. Yeah, we'll scan them and get them added in tomorrow. Well, actually, it may be next Tuesday.
All right, any other questions for Darla? All right, next. Nicole.
Mine will be very short and sweet. As of today, we have 2,162 short-term rentals registered for the year of 2023, which I think is a really great.
How much?
2,100, a little over 2,100.
Is the system working a lot better this year?
Because everybody is much more familiar with it
Right.
and because the property managers are,
Are,
experts at it now
are
at
there
this
any
point.
major things that you're concerned with?
No, we've gone through each registration just to verify, their payments of all the hotel motel taxes. We found some unique things that we're fixing with each of those, but they're all working with us very well. Building permits, so far this year, we've issued 35. 29 have been approved, but not yet paid for. We have 6 currently in review and 9 more that are pending additional items before we can begin their review. So it's not slowed down. And that's all we've got. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nicole. All right, Lawrence, now it's your thing.
I didn't have those to them.
It's like, oh. So I'm just gonna hammer off on the items that have changed since our last meeting and update. So the airport fuel tank, we'll get more information on that. I just realized that I did have a spec on there. It was an Avgas 100 low lead tank, but I need to get further information and we'll get that back.
I think it's 10,000 gallons.
10,000 is what I thought from memory, but I didn't want to throw that out there and be wrong. So yeah, it's an Avgas 100 LL. I was looking online, but we'll have to do some digging. Okay, Charles Patch to Shoreline Pier. Project is 99% complete. The pier is mostly completed with finalization of electrical ongoing. Walkway around the pier and ADA ramp are next to be completed. Stairs have passed ADA inspection and the ramp will be inspected in the future. Construction costs at $1,700,000 from FEMA Hotel Motel Special. And we all heard from Leo about the investigation that's going on. When more information comes forth about the possible strike of the vessel, we'll get that out. Charlie's Pasture Pier Shoreline Bulkhead construction is 30% complete. Preliminary fill for the blowout area is completed. Additional fill will be completed once a concrete bulkhead structure is installed. All concrete panels for the blowout section are poured and curing. Final storm drainage installation has begun. Building rebar, trenching, and forming sidewalks are ongoing. Once 500 feet of the sidewalk is poured, the contractor will begin working on the ADA ramp to Charlie's Pasture Pier. Total cost of that is $7,500,000.
Let's jump in. Let me jump in real quick, Lawrence. So I'm going to show you guys where this is. So as you go out Port Street and you probably go out a mile or so and you get to this one little hump here before you get to the nature reserve gate. About 10 days ago, we had a very large outbound full tanker come through and it blew it had a major washover, dumped a ton of water in this area right here. And that water just saturated down into the sand and it was so much pressure. It wanted to come out this way like this.
there was so much weight once it super saturated the sand. And all that weight started pushing out on the bulkhead. We had about 4 bulkhead panels, and these are 18 feet deep. These are 18-foot panels that are about 5 feet out of the water. And then the water's about 6 feet deep. So it leaves about 7 feet of the panel buried in the sand. There was so much water weight, 4 of these panels shifted because that water was trying to get it. All that weight was blowing out, and we had 4 panels shift about this much. And then once they shifted and opened a gap in between them, because they're tongue and groove, so they're all tongue and groove, and all of a sudden they went wah, and all that water and sand started blowing out. So if you drive down there, you'll see some barricades up around a huge hole that's getting bigger and bigger. We have to now.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we're raising this up 3.5 feet.
Yeah.
So, but right now we have to fix those 4 panels.
Yeah.
We're gonna attach it to the FEMA project. But we're looking at to fix those 4 panels. It is 210,000 is the fix. It's the change order fix that we haven't approved it yet, but we need to fix this thing. Now, we can't wait. We just got the number 2 days ago, so we didn't get it in time to get it on this meeting.
We need to have a special meeting.
Yeah, I need to find 4 of you that can meet next week just to approve this one change order. So is anyone going to be here next week, like on a Wednesday or so, that could come in for 10 minutes?
Yeah.
All right, let us poll you guys for a time. But that one, so this contractor can do it that's doing our bulkhead, but because it's because it's the change orders, we can do a change order within the project the project's a 6 point. Darla, how big is the bulk, Charlie's Pasture Pier? 6.2 million. So we can do up to a 25% change order which is massive, but because it's over 50 grand, it still has to come to you guys for approval. So we couldn't tell them to go fix it until we have council authorization.
Yeah, Shirley Brothers, right?
Yes.
And it's those big panels, the temporary panels.
No, this is our actual bulkhead. They're concrete panels. Anyway, that's the bad news about that. But Leo is working on, we are putting it into the FEMA damage assessment for the bulkhead project for reimbursement.
Those things have tiebacks?
Yes, they have tiebacks. And what the tiebacks held, but what happened was, so the tieback held it, it just did this. So the tieback held it, it rotated, they moved about, I don't know, 4 to 6 inches. And once there was a gap, all that liquid in the sand just sucked all the sand out.
What day was that?
It was, I don't know, we got to call the 3 ladies, 3 like senior women were sitting there.
Oh.
And it came over and they kind of got up and ran and it overwashed and they were standing by their car and all of a sudden they heard this big cracking noise. And then they just said all of a sudden that it just caved in and started sucking out and they called the police and we ran out and it was just, as we were watching it, it was caving in and sucking out.
One day they had ship after ship after ship, one day last week. And it was just over. And
It's
over.
something that we're going to have to address
It is.
as a council.
Well, and that barge is in the middle of a ship channel, yeah. And it's causing the ship traffic to move where they would normally move, you know what I mean? It shifts the traffic pattern. And so it probably was a perfect storm on that day.
Yeah, probably
Where it
was.
had to pass.
Like when the one almost hit the ferry.
All right, well,
Okay, thanks, Lawrence.
Yeah, thank you. Citizen Collection Station ramp redesign project is nearly complete. Punch list walkthrough scheduled for next Tuesday afternoon. All concrete work is done, subgrades, stabilized, handrails, are installed, bumpers. Bollards are being painted, chains will be installed. And we're also gonna look at installing some rubber wall guards, and we're gonna have our public works team install those. To keep the walls from being bumped by the roll-off dumpsters. Construction on this is $500,000. Funding source is 60% beach fund, 40% sanitation fund. Fire EMS station project is entering back in arbitration with FEMA. Should be around the first week of May, but the city is continuing to move forward with the design efforts. Anticipate to put this out to bid early summer 23. Construction costs $9,300,000 estimated. Funding source FEMA and tax anticipation notes were issued September of 22. Gas distribution utility system. Construction is 10% complete, scheduled for completion in 2025. Currently working in phase 2C. Currently, they are in the Palmilla golf course areas. They bored across the golf course, and they're working on Palmilla Beach and Sunflower neighborhood areas. New pipe is being bored, installed, and tied back into the main, waiting on delivery of some parts that are backlogged. Construction costs at $22 million. Harbor dredge contractor began work February 15th. Kickoff construction meeting was held with engineer and contractor. Contractor has reached out to all property owners and vicinity of the dredge project to give notice. The city has also put notice up on its city website. Construction costs $500,000 coming from the Harbor Fund. Harbor Master Pavilion and building. And construction phase with general contractor. Underground plumbing is complete. Vapor barrier rebore for the slab are installed. Interior grade beams, exterior grade beams are in place. Foundation has been poured. Mason will begin mobilizing. All columns in the pavilion are repaired, and they have discovered some roof damage on the pavilion. That'll be a change order coming forward.
Is that the wood rot?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. $7,200,000. Funding source EDA and hotel motel special. Leonabelle Turnbull Birding Center. Just want to let everyone know that that's complete, so we'll be taking it off the list. Excellent place. Nature Preserve, North Trail, Salt Island, Boardwalk. Currently under FEMA review to approve and reroute due to large washout Trellis Pasture Preserve. It is in the design and permitting stages. Plans are 90% complete. There are federal review requirements and biological opinions needed per this project, and we're still hammering down the anticipated start date for this. Funding source FEMA. Construction costs to be determined. Paradise Pond Boardwalk extension that was awarded tonight at $374,802 to Mako, and that'll be the extension of the walking route as Ray described. Port Street parking lot construction is 95% complete. Punch list and walkthrough is scheduled for Monday morning. Construction is almost complete. French drain siding, striping are complete. Entry sign, exit sign, thermoplastic markings will be installed this Saturday. The Parks Department will be installing we've reached out to a contractor through the Parks Department who will be installing landscaping in the curb islands. That should be happening probably at the end of this week. We are researching still into a shelter area with a waiting bench. We think we have something figured out with that to come next. And a QR code parking pass system, which is a permit application on your phone. Well, you will kind of QR scan a sign and pay to park. Is what we're going to be proposing here really soon, probably on the next month's agenda for consideration. Cables and bollards, that'll be the next set of things to look into. And then after that, hopefully we'll be ready to roll with that parking lot. Construction costs, $800,000. Hotel motel special. Public safety building project is entering back in arbitration March 8th and 9th with FEMA in New Orleans, but the city is continuing to move forward with design efforts. Construction costs $9,700,000. FEMA and city reserve funds have been set aside. Roberts Point Park here, substantial completion certificate issued to contractor. Punch list has been reviewed and accepted. The construction barriers were removed February 9th, and it was open to the public for use. And I'm really happy about that. We're getting calls every day, people wanting to fish on it. So ever since it's been open, those calls have stopped. That's good.
Imagine.
Yeah. FEMA state hotel motel special funding, $1,600,000. Street drainage bond, it is being designed and surveyed currently 4 to 6 months out to complete these tasks and anticipate bid award sometime around this summer. Construction costs to be determined, bond of 650 million.
6.5 million.
Yeah, I'm sorry, 650 million.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
That's pretty big.
6.5. I apologize.
He's tired.
I am tired. My 9-month-old was crying last night and it's so good. Yeah. Yeah. So any questions?
No, great report. Rob.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Lauren.
keeping
Okay,
us
thank you.
updated. Thank you. All right, you're back up.
It's been a while.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging out so
Thanks.
long again.
Yeah, no problem. So Elliot Tabor, EMS. So I don't know if you saw the report. It's kind of a doozy. Sit back, relax. We plan on being here another hour. No, I'm just kidding. It's going to be really quick. There's really much to talk about. We had 83 calls, busier month than average. It's nice to see our trucks moving and doing things and helping a lot of people out there. 0 requests for mutual aid. That's mutual aid coming into our city, not going out, because it's a different story there. We've been going out for mutual aid a lot. Average response time, 4 minutes, 45 seconds. I brag about this every time, but that's really good. I know our city's smaller, but still national average is well above like 8 minutes. So almost 4.5 minutes is really quick. Transport 50, treated 18, canceled 3. Those were like false alarms. 1 fire standby. That was a pretty good one. That was the one out there by the community center, baseball fields, pool. 2 public assist, and then 7 mutual aid going out of our area into someone else's area. We have a new ambulance that I told you about in April. A lot of the employees are looking forward to that, including myself. That'll be really nice. 60% transport rate. So that's really good in EMS too. I know I brag about this all the time, but that's really good. I think national average is in the 40s. And
So that means like sometimes you show up and it's a Band-Aid and you don't transport. That's like, so 60% of your calls, you guys
we're going
end up.
we're going to the hospital.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
And even the hospitals have lots of good things to say about us, that we're doing solid.
Right. Good,
Yeah.
good. All right.
That's also less liability too for the city because we're getting them out there, getting more than you'd be. There's a lot of times where, someone will call and it might be something that you think is minor, like back pain, it ends up being a heart attack once they get to the hospital, draw labs. That's happened a couple of times too. So it's good that our guys are motivated to want to go to the hospital at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a bunch of guys, 3 guys, Albert Howie, Chris Morgan, and Josh Veracruz. Albert and Chris got their fire operators course done and passed. Josh Veracruz got his hazmat awareness course done and passed, and he's about to do his driver operator course, finished in March. So now we have 6 or 7 TCFP certified firefighters. So I don't know if you guys are very familiar with that, but to be a paid firefighter in the state of Texas, you have to be a Texas Commission of Fire Protection certified. So it's nice to be able to help the city like that and have 6 guys that are ready to go. And actually most of them are paramedics too. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
And you got promoted. Congratulations.
I did. Yeah. I didn't want to talk about myself too much, but yes, I did. You can tell me, call me Lieutenant Junior.
Yeah.
The baby lieutenant out of maybe. Yeah, with beard. Right. Yes, I know. I actually just shaved my beard. I feel kind of naked up here. Yeah, he does have an outstanding beard.
Yeah.
So that's really all I have. You guys have the little chart and everything on the back. Not much to say about that. It just has some of the calls that took longer. Highway 361. Calls out to Cinnamon Shores, La Mirage, places like that. Pull whatever on the beach, 50s, 60s. So Yeah, any questions for me that I could hopefully answer without Daniel here? I was joking earlier that he likes to send me to all the long.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Did a great job.
Thank you.
Okay,
We
yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, no problem
Great
at all.
job.
Hopefully I'll see one of you or two of you or all of you out there to do write outs.
Signed up.
I keep waiting.
No, I'm signed up.
Oh, you really?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
do you know when? You've been working that day?
It's in spring break.
It's spring
So
break,
go get
really?
it. No,
Oh, awesome.
I'm in,
I
so-
saw you with the PD a while
Yes.
ago,
Oh,
so I was
yeah.
kind of jealous. that-
It was fun.
All right.
It was fun.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, police. LT. The original OG.
I've had the title for a while. I don't know if anybody's gonna ever call me and say it again. Different.
Got your real name.
Yeah, I know, that happens all the time. We had a little bit busier month in January. Our call volume was up a little bit than normal. We usually run a little less than 2,000, but we were up a little bit. This past month, 163 charges filed for traffic offenses and municipal court charges. We are still, I think they're still trying to dig out from last summer, and we're getting ready to roll into spring break and bury them again. So I know they tell us every day how excited they are about it. So I think the biggest thing is that we are, I don't want to say this too loud, almost full staff. For the first time in many, many years, this is the closest we've been to having all of our positions filled in quite some time. So we've got some people that are still in the FTO program, and we're hoping to get them out here pretty quick. For even the ones that haven't been through spring break, they're gonna ride with a seasoned officer through spring break just to make sure that they don't get overwhelmed, as can happen. But other than that, it was pretty decent month.
Yeah.
Any questions? Other than getting me in trouble with Chief Day? He's watching on YouTube.
Oh, God.
So, yeah.
He's asleep by now.
I know, he's texting me telling me that I was wrong, so.
Oh.
I'm gonna text him back. Loser, that's what you get.
You did a great job.
I think that's it. Thank you, sir.
Awesome.
All right. Item 12, city council comments and items for future consideration.
Always think of something, then by the time we get here, I'm done. I don't know.
All right.
And I'll poll you guys for a time next week.
Okay, hearing none, we're adjourned. 9:50.